sainthood, which is one of the most important foundations of the Dragon Clan. When Ao Yuan arrived at the Sea of Sainthood, he saw black dragon guards clad in black armor standing at the entrance. Their expressions were solemn, their eyes sharp as eagles, exuding an invisible pressure. Upon seeing Ao Yuan arrive, the Black Dragon Guard commander stepped forward and greeted him respectfully. "Your Highness." Ao Yuan nodded slightly, then took out a golden token from his robes, which was the proof of entry into the Sea of Saints. Ao Yuan looked at the Black Dragon Guard commander and asked in a deep voice, "Are any other members of our clan currently using the Sea of Sainthood?" The Black Dragon Guard commander immediately took out a register, carefully reviewed it, and replied solemnly, "Reporting to the Imperial Prince, there are currently no other dragons using the Sacred Sea." Ao Yuan nodded solemnly and earnestly instructed, "My coming to enter the sainthood realm this time will inevitably cause a great commotion. Before I emerge, you must not allow other clansmen to rashly intrude and interfere." "Yes, Your Highness," the Black Dragon Guard commander quickly agreed. The practice of sealing off secret realms in search of breakthroughs is a common occurrence in the long history of the dragon race. The Black Dragon Guard commander has been stationed in the Holy See for thousands of years and is well aware of this. Of course, not every Dragon Clan member can seal off the secret realm. Breaking through the sealed secret realm is a privilege reserved only for the Emperor's sons and daughters. However, if a dragon that wants to break through learns that a member of its race is breaking through in the Sea of Sainthood, it will choose another time to give its race a quiet environment for breakthrough. These are all unwritten rules that have been agreed upon among the younger generation of the Dragon Clan. After giving his instructions, Ao Yuan handed the token to the Black Dragon Guard commander and then strode inside. The moment I stepped into this mysterious sea, a strange feeling instantly welled up in my heart. Ao Yuan's body felt as if it were enveloped by a warm and gentle force, making him feel more comfortable and relaxed than ever before. Ao Yuan took a deep breath, sensing the rich aura of holy source around him. These sacred sources were like countless tiny sprites, flitting and leaping around him joyfully. They permeated his body, nourishing every cell and giving his body new life and vitality. "Is this the Sea of Sainthood? It is truly wondrous." Ao Yuan couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. He closed his eyes, immersing himself in this magical world, feeling the rhythm of life and the mysteries of the universe. Here time seems to slow down, and everything appears so peaceful and serene. Ao Yuan slowly opened his eyes sparkling with excitement. Ao Yuan arrived at the depths of the Sea of Sainthood, calmed his mind, and began to circulate the 8-9 profound technique, absorbing the surrounding saintly source power. As he practiced the technique, his body gradually radiated a faint golden light, making him appear like a war god, majestic and extraordinary. The endless holy energy around him began to flow, swirling around Ao Yuan, and then being refined and absorbed by him. Cultivation takes no time. In the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed. "Brother Black Dragon Guard, this is my token," a prodigy from the Azure Dragon clan said with a smile. "I'm sorry the Imperial Prince is breaking through in the secret realm. Please come back later." "Oh, okay, I'll come back in a while then. Thanks, Brother Black Dragon Guard." Qing Shu smiled and scratched the back of his head. "I never imagined that the Imperial Prince would reach the saintly level at such a young age." Qing Shu sighed inwardly, then turned and left. A month later, another young girl named Long arrived at the Sea of Sainthood. Like Qing Shu, upon learning that the Emperor's son was seeking a breakthrough, she also chose to leave without a care. Before long, news of the Emperor's son's breakthrough in the Sea of Sainthood spread among the younger generation of the various branches of the Dragon Clan. The dragon prodigies all marveled at the Emperor's son's immense talent and his diligent cultivation. "I didn't expect that Ao Yuan would become a saint so soon," a blue dragon said with emotion. "Who says otherwise? We were all born around the same time. I've only just ignited my divine fire, and Ao Yuan is already preparing to become a saint." Another white dragon youth chimed in. "How dare you talk about Ao Yuan like that? With you spending all your time fishing, there's no way your cultivation will improve." The pink-haired girl dragon next to him bluntly exposed his words. "Haha, hobbies, hobbies," fishing dragon, whose name was called, laughed awkwardly. He felt wronged. He just liked fishing, he wasn't neglecting his spiritual practice. He spent 1/10 of his time in a 24-hour period cultivating diligently, which is already incredibly hard work. Just then, the fire dragon, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke up. "By the way, I heard that a Dao-slaying secret realm is about to emerge. Do you want to go together?" These words instantly attracted the attention of all the dragons, and they all turned to look at the fire dragon. "That's interesting, count me in," exclaimed a white dragon girl excitedly. "The Dao-slaying secret realm is too low level, it's not interesting. I'd better go fishing. Some dragons only know how to fish, and as a result, they haven't seen a single fish bite for 3 months." A young dragon laughed. "Don't say that, Kongjun's spirit fish are intelligent too. It's normal that you can't catch them with ordinary fishing methods." "Wu Yu, you didn't let him off the hook either." Another dragon couldn't help but laugh. "All right, I'm not going to talk to you laymen anymore, I'm going fishing." Fishing dragon angrily left. Fishing is also a form of spiritual practice. These two-pronged dragons are ignorant, and he won't stoop to their level. The other dragons shook their heads. Some agreed to go to the Dao-slaying secret realm with the red dragon Wyazi to blast fish, while others went to other places to train, and some simply started cultivating in their clans. Meanwhile, in the desolate wilderness, Yiziu was running naked through the jungle. "Stop, you stop right there!" Yiziu shouted as he ran, trying to scare the agile 300-year-old He Shu Wu with his voice. A 300-year-old medicine would not have been a concern for Yiziu in the past. Unfortunately, he ended up in a place with scarce spiritual energy, where there was no spiritual power in the air. He finally found a 300-year-old mortal herb, so he could only make do with it for the time being. He Wu ignored Yiziu, jumped straight into the river and ran away. Yiziu stared speechlessly at the endless river. He escaped. This mighty emperor couldn't even catch a single ordinary herb. What a disgrace, what a tremendous disgrace. Yiziu angrily sat down on the spot, then let out a loud ouch. Yiziu instantly took flight. Secret technique, 1,000 years of death. Heh. A ginseng looked at the two-legged beast that had jumped 3 meters away with a mocking expression. "Ginseng?" Yiziu's eyes lit up as he watched the ginseng bouncing around in the distance. Although he was unexpectedly struck by the 1,000-year killing technique, he wouldn't lose out if he could catch this ginseng. Heh. Thinking of this, Yiziu grinned foolishly. The cultivation resources are finally secured again. Heh. The 250-year-old ginseng continued to loudly mock Yiziu, seemingly unaware of the seriousness of the situation. "P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love." Symbol 335, Chapter 161, Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill. 7 years later, Yiziu's cultivation level soared after his survival in the wilderness. After 10 years of recuperation and retraining, Yiziu not only recovered to his original state, but also surpassed his previous strength, successfully entering the mid-stage of the venerable realm. "Only one more underground palace remains. Once we conquer it, this training will be complete," Yiziu said with burning enthusiasm in his eyes. Since consuming that 250 yuan ginseng 7 years ago, his cultivation path has become incredibly smooth. Over the next 7 years, Yiziu, having gained cultivation, continued to explore this wilderness and discovered several inheritance palaces. Of course, during his years of exploration, Yiziu discovered that the remote place he was in was actually a dilapidated secret realm, a safeguard set up by an ancient powerful being for his descendants. Because of a lack of resources, that great man's descendant has not yet entered the country. His arrival at this secret realm was a stroke of luck, a twist of fate. After learning the whole story, Yiziu was not discouraged at all. On the contrary, he was full of fighting spirit. Although this secret realm has little spiritual energy, it is safe and free from the interference of demonic beasts. All cultivation resources are basically stored in the Inheritance Palace. As long as you defeat the Guardian Puppet, you can get the corresponding rewards. "Once I've taken this opportunity, I can leave." Yiziu sighed inwardly. 13 underground palaces are located in 13 different locations within this secret realm, forming a massive teleportation array with the altar in the center of the realm. The safest way to leave the secret realm is to clear all the dungeons and use the teleportation array to leave. However, Yiziu did not intend to use this method. He is not a descendant of this mysterious and powerful being, and using this legendary array whose destination is unknown might cause some unnecessary trouble. Yiziu shook his head, sighed softly, and then slowly reached out and grasped the switch leading to the final palace. He pushed hard, and with a click, the stone door emitted a lazy sound, as if a long dormant beast had been awakened. As the stone gate opened, a long and mysterious passage instantly appeared before Yiziu. Boom, boom, boom. A deep rumbling sound came from the depths of the passage, like an ancient machine restarting. The spirit lamps on both sides of the passage lit up simultaneously, their lights intertwining and illuminating the entire passage, making it appear exceptionally eerie and mysterious. Another mechanical trick, Yiziu murmured softly. This kind of mechanical art was not unfamiliar to him, as he had often encountered similar situations during his previous explorations of underground palaces. Yiziu shook his head with a wry smile, ignoring this low-level trap, and strode into the passage. Other cultivators might be wary of such mechanical techniques, but Yiziu is one of the 9 great holy bodies of the human race, possessing an invincible physical body. Mechanical arts posed no threat to him whatsoever. They couldn't even break his skin, so he was naturally fearless. 1 step, 2 steps. Yiziu walked steadily forward, having already taken dozens of steps, but without triggering any mechanisms. Could it be that there are no traps set in this level? This thought flashed through Yiziu's mind, but he immediately dismissed his own idea, thinking that things wouldn't be that simple. So he quickened his pace and continued deeper into the palace. Before long, Yiziu arrived at the main hall without incident. No traps were triggered during the event. I didn't expect that senior to be such a shoddy shopper, copying the passageway verbatim but omitting all the mechanisms. Yiziu smiled helplessly. There were no traps, and Yiziu didn't think too much about it. He carefully checked the surrounding environment and found no trace of other traps. Yiziu strode up the steps and stood on the most prominent stone platform in the center of the palace. There was a protective array on the stone platform. Yiziu was familiar with it and broke through the protective array in a few breaths. The formation dissipated, and a beautiful wooden box lay quietly in the center of the stone platform. As expected, the reward for the 13th underground palace was inside this wooden box. Yiziu exhaled a breath of stale air. Upon opening the wooden box, one finds 2 jade bottles and a brownish-red ancient book. Yiziu took the book, which read, Yin-Yang Bliss Technique, Dual Cultivation Technique. Yiziu's face instantly darkened. More than 10 years ago, his second brother was killed by Ao Yuan's henchmen. What use would he have for this dual cultivation technique? Yiziu put down his cultivation technique and then picked up one of the jade bottles. Yin-Yang Elixir. The words on the jade bottle were somewhat blurry. The Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill, perhaps? Yiziu shook his head. Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill. It can help people rise from the ashes, break through and rebuild, and be reborn. Taking the Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill can provide an opportunity for transformation and breakthrough when suffering fatal injuries. I never expected that such a small secret realm would contain such elixirs. This trip has truly been worthwhile. Yiziu's eyes instantly burned with fervor. He stared intently at the pill in his hand, a surge of uncontrollable excitement welling up inside him. Although the effects of the Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill are passively triggered, for a great emperor like Yiziu, he has countless ways to actively activate the pill's effects, thereby achieving his own transformation and improvement. If used properly, I might actually be able to break through to the late stage of the venerable realm with this pill. Yiziu couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. The first bottle of pills was the Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill, so the other pill must be no less impressive. Thinking of this, Yiziu couldn't wait to pick up another jade bottle. Tei returning to Origin Pill, Yiziu murmured to himself, looking at the words on the jade bottle. Yiziu was completely unfamiliar with this name. He had never heard of this kind of pill before. Judging from this, the powerful figure who created this secret realm must be an alchemist, and a high-ranking one at that, Yiziu secretly speculated. After checking the palace rewards, Yiziu found a safe place to sit down and took out the Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill. In an instant, a rich fragrance of cinnamon wafted over and filled the air. The aroma is invigorating, but what's even more captivating is the dragon's might it contains. Yiziu carefully sensed the aura and confirmed that this was indeed the Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill he had been dreaming of. To ensure everything was perfect, Yiziu carefully checked the pills again to confirm there were no problems. Without hesitation, Yiziu put the pill into his mouth and swallowed it gently. With a glug sound, the Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill slid down his throat and into his stomach. Refine, Yiziu uttered softly. The powerful spiritual energy flowed through the meridians and towards the elixir in his abdomen. The next second, the medicinal power of the pill erupted. Not good, Yiziu's expression changed drastically. However, the terrifying medicinal power of the Yin-Yang Reversal Pill had already penetrated Yiziu's 8 extraordinary meridians and entered the nucleus of every cell in Yiziu, violently reversing yin and yang. YX? No. Amidst Yi Xiu's mournful roar, his body completed a dramatic reversal. Ah! Yi Xiu's sharp roar echoed through the underground palace. Long-lasting sorrow. This can't be real. Yi Xiu's face was covered in tears. He actually turned into she. Ah, you damn bastard. I'm going to kill you, kill you. Yi Xiu roared in a frenzy of impotence. He didn't cry when Ao Yuan destroyed his cultivation. He didn't cry when his sister Yi Zinner was humiliated by Ao Yuan. And he didn't cry when his second brother was killed by an ant from the lower realm. But now that his body's yin and yang have reversed, he couldn't hold back any more and cried. I-ifed. Yi Xiu spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. Ding, Yi Xiu, the chosen one, has fallen into a trap. His yin and yang have been reversed by the yin-yang reversal pill, causing his Dao heart to shatter, his spirit to collapse, and him to be filled with grief. Yi Xiu's luck value has plummeted by 5 million, and the host has gained 5 million villain values. Ding, Yi Xiu, the chosen one, has discovered he's been tricked. His 10 years of hard work were just a part of the secret realm opener's game. He immediately turns red in anger. His luck value plummets by 2 million, and the host gains 2 million villain points. Ding, Yi Xiu, the chosen one, has had his mental defenses shattered by the cruel reality. Overwhelmed by grief and anger, he is unable to accept the truth and has fallen into a coma. Yi Xiu's luck value has plummeted by 100,000, and the host has gained 1 million villain points. During his seclusion, 3 automatic system announcements flashed by, but Ao Yuan didn't see them. While Ao Yuan was at the most critical moment of his breakthrough, Chen Zhou had already blocked out those unnecessary system announcements. As for adding subtitles, it's just a formality. The Yin-Yang Dragon Profound Pill that Yi Xiu obtained was the Yin-Yang Reversal Pill that Ao Yuan exchanged 10 years ago. In order to deceive Yi Xiu, a quasi-emperor-level alchemist, Ao Yuan spent his villain points to have Chen Zhou tamper with it. To make the dragon energy more authentic, Ao Yuan even urinated on the Yin-Yang Reversal Pill. The purpose was to make it impossible for Yi Xiu to tell the difference. Now, following Ao Yuan's plan, Yi Xiu has completed the Yin-Yang Reversal and transformed into a lovely female cultivator. Chapter 162, Achieving Sainthood. While Yi Xiu was unconscious, a powerful vortex of holy source rapidly swirled in the deepest part of the Dragon Palace's holy sea. The vortex was like a bottomless pit, constantly drawing in the surrounding sacred energy. These sacred sources seemed to be drawn by an invisible force, surging into the center of the vortex and merging with Ao Yuan, becoming part of his power. As time went by, the aura emanating from Ao Yuan grew stronger and stronger, and his body also underwent continuous changes. Its originally transparent body gradually became clearer, with distinct outlines and a powerful presence. The sacred source absorbed into his body circulated within Ao Yuan, nourishing his body and soul. The waters of the holy sea began to churn and surge, creating towering waves. These giant waves crashed against each other, creating a deafening roar, as if celebrating Ao Yuan's increased power. Just then, a sudden change occurred. A dazzling golden beam of light shot up from the depths of the Sea of Sainthood, like a golden dragon piercing the sky. At the same time, the sky above the Dragon Palace suddenly darkened, and black tribulation clouds rapidly gathered, completely enveloping the entire Dragon Palace in the blink of an eye. This cloud of calamity covered an area of tens of millions of miles, blotting out the sun and making it seem as if the end of the world had arrived. Such a magnificent sight not only shocked everyone in the Dragon Palace, but also attracted the attention of countless powerful figures throughout the eastern wilderness. They all looked towards the direction of the Dragon Palace, their faces showing astonishment and awe. What's going on? Has another quasi-emperor-level expert been born in the Dragon Clan? Someone couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. No, it shouldn't be a quasi-emperor, but rather, another person guessed. The Dragon Clan's imperial son. How is this possible? That's the truth. Throughout history, even invincible geniuses have faced tribulations in a similar manner, sighed a human great sage. Could this era be once again the era of those overlord races who dominate the world? A saint king lamented deeply. The great saints of all races fell silent. At this moment, the atmosphere inside the Dragon Palace was extremely tense, with all the dragons staring intently at the calamity cloud, anticipating the final outcome. Suddenly, a bright moon appeared in the dim sky, a moon rising over the sea. This is an extraordinary calamity. I never imagined that Yuaner's first tribulation would be the bright moon rising over the sea. Yin Yue's gaze was fixed on the Sea of Sainthood. Ao Gu gently held Yin Yue's hand and softly comforted her. Yuaner is exceptionally talented, so this calamity is probably not his fault. Slap, Yin Yue slapped away Ao Gulong's claw in displeasure. Who told you I was worried? Our son is so outstanding. Overcoming the heavenly tribulation is just a natural progression for him. As for you, have you reflected on why your cultivation hasn't improved over the years? 1,000,000 years ago, you were at the early Great Emperor stage, and now, 1,000,000 years later, you haven't even touched the threshold of the mid-Great Emperor stage. I'd be ashamed to admit it if word got out, Yin Yue criticized without hesitation. Ao Gu chuckled sheepishly and retorted in a low voice. I was just handling clan affairs. If you don't want to be the clan leader, you don't have to. There are so many great saints and quasi-emperors in the clan with sufficient seniority. If you really find it troublesome, just kick out the position of clan leader. Yin Yue retorted quietly. Ao Yuan smiled awkwardly and remained silent. As the bright moon shattered, the next extraordinary calamity followed closely behind. The celestial king reigned supreme over the 9 heavens. After the second extraordinary tribulation, came the third, the fourth, and the fifth extraordinary tribulation. 9 extraordinary calamities successively descended. Finally, amidst a deafening roar, the divine dragon phenomenon dissipated. The tribulation clouds slowly dispersed, and a figure appeared in mid-air. He exuded a powerful aura, like an invincible war god. Upon seeing the imperial prince, cheers erupted throughout the dragon palace. Congratulations on the imperial prince's breakthrough. The emperor's prince is mighty. Cheers rose and fell deafeningly loud. Early stage of sainthood. After 10 years of seclusion, Ao Yuan successfully entered the saint realm and officially became a saint. Ao Yuan had also honed his physical body to the extreme, so much so that he was confident he could kill even a saint king with a single punch. Congratulations, my husband, on breaking through to the saint realm. Wang Chang congratulated him with a face full of joy. For 10 years, she had been eagerly awaiting her husband's return from seclusion. Ao Yuan took Wang Chang's hand and said with a smile, "Come on, let's go celebrate." Wang Chang nodded gently. The 2 dragons then disappeared from the sight of the other dragons. I never expected that Ao Yuan would have already reached the saint realm. The Ice Spirit Clan Empress stared at the intelligence report in her hand, momentarily stunned, her eyes revealing disbelief and shock. Alas, in this era I am still no match for Ao Yuan. The holy son of the Tianyan sect shook his head helplessly, his heart filled with disappointment and frustration. Ao Yuan, this holy son will absolutely not lose to you. Oh, the saint realm. It seems this saint son finally has a worthy opponent. Ao Yuan's entry into the saint realm put immense pressure on countless other geniuses of his age. But in this vast and boundless world, not all geniuses are crushed by Ao Yuan. On the contrary, many other exceptional talents are eager to try their luck and compete with this strongest prodigy of the Dragon Clan. The 5 regions and 4 seas are vast, and there are many peerless geniuses who have stepped into the saint realm. These peerless geniuses had cultivated for much longer than Ao Yuan, but they did not look down on Ao Yuan because of that. History provides numerous examples demonstrating that even those unsung geniuses can eventually become shining stars. Whether one can have the last laugh depends on whether one can seize the opportunities of the times. All the struggles under the emperor are nothing more than petty squabbles. There was once an emperor who was unremarkable at the beginning of his career, and even suffered a series of defeats until the era of struggle arrived. Overnight, he defeated thousands of powerful enemies and successfully became a great emperor. True strength requires the test of time and the accumulation of experience. Ao Yuan stood out among his peers, but in the same era there were many who had entered the realm of saints. Entering the realm of sainthood is merely joining another race. On the other side, Yi Ziu also woke up again. "You bastard, how dare you plot against me? You'd better not let me find you otherwise." Yi Ziu secretly vowed in his heart. After reversing yin and yang, Yi Ziu was completely enraged. For a great emperor like her to be mocked like this is an utter disgrace. And this heaven-defying elixir, it's best if she doesn't find out who created it, otherwise, she'll definitely show the person who developed it what true cruelty is. Yi Ziu took a deep breath, trying to calm himself down. She knew that the most important thing now was to regain her strength as soon as possible, and then find the mastermind behind it all. Revenge. Chapter 163, Entering the Upper Realm. Leaving the wilderness, Yi Ziu found herself in the far north. A chill swept over her, and Yi Ziu couldn't help but tremble. Damn it, what terrible luck. I never expected that teleportation array to lead to this godforsaken place. It's freezing, Yi Ziu said angrily. Originally, Yi Ziu wanted to use the teleportation array to vent his anger by destroying the bloodline descendants of that old coin. But unexpectedly, the secret realm teleportation array was so remote that it sent Yi Ziu directly to the northernmost part of the Tianyuan realm. Seeing the vast expanse of white earth, Yi Ziu was speechless. In his anger, Yi Ziu became even angrier. Okay, is this how you play it? Old man, you'd better have other plans. Otherwise, the day I ascend to sainthood will be the day your bloodline is severed, Yi Ziu secretly vowed. The far north is located at the northernmost point of the Tianyuan realm, one of the myriad lower realms. It is covered in snow all year round and is sparsely populated. Apart from some ice and snow-type monsters, it is difficult to find any living creatures. The distance between Yi Ziu's original location in the northwest continent and the vast ocean is quite far. Yi Ziu, draped in animal hide, looked down at the vast expanse of white ice and snow. At this sight, Yi Ziu's expression instantly darkened further. A woman whose head is bowed so low that her feet are invisible is the most beautiful woman in the world. This statement is regarded as truth by countless cultivators in the cultivation world. But now that it applies to himself, Yi Ziu is not happy at all. In terms of looks and figure, Yi Ziu was in no way inferior to those peerless female cultivators. But in his heart, Yi Ziu was a complete mess. Although several days have passed, Yi Ziu still hasn't gotten over this incident. Originally, although her second brother was killed, in the 5 regions and 4 seas, it was a matter of only a few inches, which was not a big deal. As the Empress, she has hundreds of ways to restore it. But now, with his body's yin and yang reversed and all hope lost, Yi Ziu felt utterly heartbroken and speechless. Of course, the physical transformation is not entirely without its benefits. Because the yin and yang have been completely reversed, Yi Ziu's body and soul are now more in harmony. The original owner's grudges have completely disappeared. It can be said that her current body is no different from the one she was born with in her reincarnation. The only thing that displeased Yi Ziu was that this body belonged to a female cultivator, which made cultivation extremely inconvenient and subject to various restrictions. The ancient sacred body is still there, but in her current state, her combat abilities are definitely limited. It's all that old bastard's fault. He was doing some pointless research on those stupid pills and didn't even leave the formulas. What am I supposed to do now? Yi Ziu grew angrier the more he thought about it. Without the formula, and having lost the only sample, even if Yi Ziu was a emperor-level alchemist in her previous life, she would still be unable to cook without rice. Finding a solution is harder than climbing to heaven. Forget it, let's just take it one step at a time. Yi Ziu gave a wry smile. Currently, her cultivation level is at the mid-stage of the venerable realm, and she is still quite a distance away from igniting the divine fire. Although the far north is remote, it is rich in spiritual energy, which is perfect for her to cultivate now. Once her cultivation is complete, she will return to the northwest continent to inquire about the Yi family's situation. She will not break her promise to the original owner. After another physical examination, Yi Ziu began his arduous training. The far north is sparsely populated, but the ice and snow-type monsters there are enough to give Yi Ziu a good beating. The icebergs rising from the ground all around became Yi Ziu's best punching bag. With every punch and kick, every move, Yi Ziu fought with incredible ferocity. Yi Ziu vividly recreated the power of the ancient sacred body. The devastated, icy plains stretched as far as the eye could see, a mere fraction of Yi Ziu's cultivation journey at its beginning. 3 months later, Yi Ziu broke through 2 realms and successfully advanced to the peak of the venerable realm. Yi Ziu slowly opened his eyes from beneath the ice and snow, a sharp glint flashing within them. Peak venerable realm, it's time to go back. The promise made to the original owner 16 years ago has finally come to be fulfilled. Help Yi Ziu, the original owner, clear his name of being a good-for-nothing, restore the Yi family's glory, and make Aoyang Ne apologize to the Yi family. Having settled the karmic debts of the Yi family, it's time to return to the upper realm. A glint of light flashed in Yi Ziu's eyes. Ao Yuan, Feng Shui, Shangyun Qingyi, are you ready? Yi Ziu clenched his fists. She, Yi Ziu, will avenge the murder she suffered in her past life and the crippling she endured in this life. Central Plains and the Dragon Clan prepare to face the wrath of the Great Fire Empress. Upper Realm Dragon Palace. Ao Yuan, I the Empress will tear you to pieces. The 9 Nether Empress threatened, her eyes filled with shame and indignation. However, it was all in vain. Jiyu had no power to resist and could only watch helplessly as Ao Yuan used him as a furnace to seize his great Emperor Dao fruit. Although Ao Yuan's current speed is slow, Jiyu knows that once Ao Yuan's cultivation level increases, this speed will increase exponentially until she dies and her cultivation dissipates. This is the end for Jiyu. She was not willing to accept it. There's no escaping it. When she chose to reincarnate, Jiyu knew there was a risk involved. To avoid this, she chose to reincarnate in the lower realm. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned, and she unexpectedly encountered the Dragon Clan's imperial son descending to the lower realm. Because their family was caught up in the chaos, they were ravaged by this evil dragon, taken to the Dragon Clan, and then exposed by a powerful dragon. To end up like this. In the lower realm, after making some inquiries, Yi Ziu learned that Ao Yuan had actually left the lower realm 10 years ago. Yun Potion and Pan Feng ascended to the upper realm 5 years ago, and the Great Kaiyan dynasty returned to the rule of the Great Kaiyan imperial family. Because of the Yun Palace Holy Land incident, the Great Kaiyan dynasty annexed dozens of surrounding dynasties, changed its name to the Kaiyan Kun dynasty, and developed rapidly. The palace master of Yun Palace is Aoyang Na, who went to the Yi family to annul her engagement years ago. Because Ao Yuan gave Yun Palace some pills before he left, Yun Palace currently has 5 elders who have broken through to the venerable level. These people will never again have the chance to ignite the divine fire and ascend to the upper realm, but they can still wreak havoc in the lower realm without any problem. After all, given that connection, other holy lands wouldn't dare to attack the Cloud Palace. Besides, the Cloud Palace is located in the northwest continent, far away from them, so they have no need to be enemies with it. The only place that harbors resentment towards the Cloud Palace is the Purple Mansion Holy Land. The fact that the daughter of the Lord of the Purple Mansion Holy Land was the top courtesan in the Cloud Palace was the talk of the entire Tianyuan realm, and many people from the Holy Land had gone to take care of Luo Wongqing's business. This reputation infuriated the Lord of the Purple Mansion, but he had no choice but to negotiate. After several rounds of negotiations, the Purple Mansion spent a huge amount of resources 3 years ago to redeem Luo Wongqing. 6 months after Luo Wongqing returned to the Purple Mansion, Aoyang Na ordered the remaining members of the Yi family to be pardoned and allowed them to return to Wulong Town. Yi Ziu's father, Yi Huangsu, glanced forlornly at the place of his sorrow. Perhaps knowing he had let the Yi family down, Yi Huangsu ultimately chose to leave alone, his destination unknown. Upon learning this news, Yi Ziu's expression was inscrutable. She couldn't say she felt sad about what had happened to the Yi family. Of the entire Yi family, Yi Ziu only acknowledged his father, Yi Huangsu, and his younger sister, Yi Zinner. Now the only 2 people she cares about are missing, and she has nothing left to worry about. As for the original owner's mother, Luo Wongqing, she has already been redeemed by the Purple Mansion, and Yi Ziu does not intend to interfere too much. With Yi's father missing, even if she brought Luo Wongqing out of the Purple Mansion, she didn't know what to do with her. She couldn't stay in the lower realm, and Luo Wongqing wasn't her mother. The best course of action was to leave her alone. No matter what, Luo Wongqing is still the daughter of the Purple Mansion master. Even if she has a hard life, she will not be lacking in food and clothing. Now that this matter is settled, it's time for me to return to the upper realm. Yi Ziu sighed and silently left the northwest continent. Since there was no one in the Yi family that Yi Ziu cared about, he stopped interfering. As for Aoyang Na, Yi Ziu couldn't say he hated her. Before leaving, he secretly went to Yun Palace to see Aoyang Na and then left. As for the Cloud Palace, Yun Potion and Elder Pan Feng had already ascended to heaven, and Yi Ziu did nothing to the Cloud Palace. After 10 years of changes, Cloud Palace is now the #1 righteous force in the northwest continent. Within Cloud Palace's jurisdiction, everything is managed according to the laws of the dynasty. Yi Ziu has no reason to destroy Cloud Palace. Of course, the main reason was that Yi Ziu was worried that his identity would be exposed after destroying the Cloud Palace, and that Ao Yuan, that evil dragon, would once again destroy his cultivation. If it were just the loss of her cultivation, that would be fine. But if she were captured alive by Ao Yuan, given her current appearance, she couldn't even imagine what that evil dragon, Ao Yuan, would do. After weighing the pros and cons, Yi Ziu decided to temporarily pardon Yun Gong's great disrespect, conceal his identity, and choose to endure. A month later, Yi Ziu returned to the far north and began his seclusion. A month later, Yiziu ignited the divine fire and ascended to immortality. No one in the Tianyuan realm knew these things. The entire Tianyuan realm was peaceful and undisturbed. No one knew that Yiziu, one of the protagonists of the Yunqian sect back then, had actually left the lower realm. Tilda, Yiziu couldn't help but let out a soft moan. Upper realm, it's been a long time. Hey, you over there, woman, come over and register. An impatient female voice called out. Upon hearing this, Yiziu turned her head and saw a square-shaped female cultivator looking at her with a resentful expression. Seeing this, Yiziu gave a helpless wry smile and walked confidently to the female cultivator in front of him. Name, the female cultivator from Boggang asked, displeased. Yiziu thought for a moment, then cautiously gave a pseudonym. When you're out in the world, your identity is something you give yourself. Besides, she was being targeted by Ao Yuan of the Dragon Clan when she was in the lower realm, so it's always better to be careful. Boggang, the female cultivator, wrote down Yiziu's name and continued, gender. Upon hearing this, Yiziu's fiery temper flared up and she retorted angrily, can't you read it? Guards, strip this person naked. I want to examine her body and see if she's a man or a woman. The female cultivator, Boggang, reacted swiftly. Heh. Several burly men approached Yiziu with lewd expressions. Chapter 164, Hero Saves the Beauty. Stop right there. Just as Boggang and the other female cultivators were about to continue attacking Yiziu, an angry voice suddenly rang out, interrupting their actions. The voice, like a clear spring, broke the tense atmosphere. Everyone turned to look and saw a young man in a white robe standing not far away, his eyes revealing a hint of authority and anger. Who's the blind fool who dares to cause trouble on the Ascension platform? Boggang's face darkened, and without thinking, he roared at the white-robed man. The Ascension platform? Heh! The white-robed man chuckled lightly. Since when has the Ascension platform become a tool for you to make things difficult for others? His gaze swept over the cultivator, Boggang, and the others, a flash of anger appearing in his eyes. So it's the Crown Prince. I never expected him to come to the Ascension platform in person. This woman is truly blessed, someone exclaimed. The Crown Prince is kind and often helps impoverished cultivators. He is a blessing to our Tianchu city. Although the Crown Prince comes from a first-class family, he never bullies ordinary cultivators. If a rogue cultivator encounters difficulties, he will help them if they explain the reason. The Crown Prince is the pride of our Tianchu city. His good deeds have brought warmth and hope to us ordinary cultivators. Yes, if it weren't for the Crown Prince, many people might have given up on the path of cultivation long ago. People around praised it. Through the words of these cultivators in various attire, Yiziu gained a preliminary understanding of this young male cultivator whom everyone called the Prince. This guy, known as the Crown Prince, is quite prestigious in this area. He is not only exceptionally talented and powerful, but also very upright and warm-hearted, and is deeply respected by the local cultivators. However, Yiziu remained vigilant and did not readily believe everyone's assessment of the Crown Prince. Yiziu knew that human nature was complex, and that one could not easily judge a person based on appearances alone. As a former emperor, Yiziu has experienced countless trials and tribulations and encountered all kinds of people, giving him a profound understanding of the wickedness of human nature. In the world of cultivation, there are many who appear to be gentlemen. Some have even presented themselves as virtuous gentlemen for thousands of years in order to show their noble character, but in reality, they harbor treacherous intentions. These types of people are often good at disguising themselves, making it difficult for others to discover their true nature. Many victims, after discovering the truth and making it public, were met with skepticism and attacks. Yiziu had seen many similar things during his cultivation days. Looking back, she and Shangyu and Qingyi were once the most enviable couple in Zhangzhou, and Feng Shaiyu was her most loyal brother. The three of them were considered to be the next leaders of Zhangzhou. As a result, Yiziu was attacked by an unknown ferocious beast in the forbidden land of gods. The two of them actually ambushed her together, putting her in a desperate situation. Even though Yiziu was hailed as the #1 rising star in Zhangzhou for 10,000 years, he was besieged on all sides, and, having only recently entered the Emperor realm, ultimately perished with resentment. This painful experience taught Yiziu a lesson. People's hearts are unpredictable, and one should not easily trust anyone. With a smile on his face, the prince walked gracefully to Yiziu. His smile was like the warm spring sun, giving people a warm and friendly feeling. "Fairy, are you all right?" the Crown Prince asked with concern, his tone full of gentleness and care. Yi Ziu pondered for a moment, then replied coldly, "It's nothing." Hearing Yi Ziu's answer, the Prince of Wang was not angry. He smiled slightly and said, "It's good that you're all right. It's good that you're all right. Fairy, I see that you come from the lower realm, and I suppose you do not yet have a suitable place to stay. If you do not mind, I can arrange a quiet residence for you." Yi Ziu glanced coldly at the Crown Prince and refused without hesitation. No need. Yi Ziu knew in her heart that she was not a woman, and she really did not want to have too much entanglement with this prince. Although everyone around him was praising the Crown Prince, Yi Ziu was not misled by them. The Crown Prince has a good reputation and is helpful, but the female cultivator who guided him to the ascension platform was unusually arrogant, which is clearly abnormal. If this Crown Prince were truly as hating evil and kind to others as rumored, then this kind of thing shouldn't have happened, at least not in a place like the ascension platform. On the contrary, the fact that the obese female nun is acting so arrogantly here indicates that there are some problems with the management of this place. Yi Ziu absolutely refused to believe that the prince would arrive so coincidentally, at the very moment she was in trouble. If this prince has been here before, then the female cultivator who guided him should have been dealt with long ago. If this prince has not been here before, then it means that he does not take the ascension platform seriously, and there is definitely something wrong with him coming here. Therefore, it can be inferred that this prince is not a kind person. Seeing that he had been rejected by a lowly whore, the prince couldn't help but feel angry. How dare that country bumpkin from some backwater reject me in public? So aloof, I hope you can maintain that aloofness even when you're in my bed. Since the fairy wishes to be alone, then I shall take my leave. The prince suppressed his inner turmoil and bid farewell calmly. Do as you please. Yi Ziu remained as concise as ever. Yi Ziu didn't take the matter of the ascension platform seriously. He could easily wipe out a few ants in the mid-stage of the divine fire realm. Unless a saint realm expert intervenes, no one can stop her. If it weren't for the intervention of this prince, these people would have already become the victims of her fists. Your 2 months' salary will be withheld. If you repeat this offense, you're fired. Prince Wang glanced at Bo Gang, the female cultivator, and casually uttered a polite remark. "Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you, Your Highness." The female cultivator who was guiding them thanked him repeatedly. "Your Highness is truly merciful. This man has committed such a grave crime, yet Your Highness has given him a chance to reform. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Your Highness's actions are a way of teaching us that it is the greatest virtue to admit our mistakes and correct them. With the Crown Prince here, how can my Tianshu city not prosper?" The surrounding cultivators then began to praise him with genuine emotion. "Young lady, I was just overcome by my inner demons and committed this rude act. Here is your identity token, please take it." The female cultivator, Bo Gang, handed over an entry token with a forced smile. Yi Ziu nodded, accepted the token engraved with the words Tianshu, and then left the ascension platform. After checking it, the token was found to be normal, so he put it into his sleeve. If Yi Ziu wasn't mistaken, this token should be an entry token for entering this city. With the entry token, entering the city would save a lot of trouble. "That's not bad. Wang Lin, get some men to follow that bitch." Once out of the crowd, the young prince immediately revealed his true intentions. If the soft approach doesn't work, then he'll use both soft and hard tactics. He refuses to believe that a bitch who has just ignited her divine fire can turn the world upside down. "Yes, young master," Wang Lin smiled subtly. The incident at the Ascension platform was indeed deliberately arranged by the Crown Prince, and most of the onlookers at the Ascension platform were professional actors he had arranged. Their goal was simple: to hunt down beautiful female cultivators from the lower realms, especially those aloof empresses and proud saintesses who live a life of luxury in the lower realms. These talented beauties, that feeling. Chapter 165, heading to southern Xinjiang. "Father, I've heard that a great sacred realm has emerged in the southern borderlands, and I'd like to go out and gain some experience," Ao Yuan calmly reported to Ao Gu. "Go," Dragon Emperor Ao Gu nodded slightly, agreeing to his son Ao Yuan's request. Despite the numerous great sage-level secret realms within the Dragon clan and the guidance of Emperor Zhang, Ao Yuan still lacked some training due to staying within the clan. These trials are not about combat skills or combat experience, but about scheming, unexpected events, and strategic alliances. The trials at home are often tempered by elders who hold back, and peers engage in friendly competition, stopping short of serious conflict. This kind of training is hard to compare with the harsh realities of the outside world. To become an emperor, one must fight against the prodigies of all races and compete with quasi-emperors from all ages. Only outside can one truly be tempered. After reporting to his father, Ao Gu, Ao Yuan left the Dragon Clan territory alone, stepped into the teleportation array, and soon arrived at the southern frontier where Yi Ziu was. Ao Yuan was well prepared for this trip, bringing only 3 imperial weapons and no one else with him. Through the real-time holographic map, Ao Yuan knew 3 months ago that Yi Ziu had ascended to the southern frontier. The Chosen One is destined to encounter opportunities wherever he goes, and Ao Yuan would not miss these things. System: View Yi Ziu's panel. Yi Ziu template. Name: Yi Ziu, reborn emperor. Gender: female, current. Age: 38. Actual age: 4,461. Physique: ancient extreme yin sacred body. Combat strength: late stage of divine fire realm, capable of fighting against peak Dao severing realm cultivators. Faction: none. Main cultivation method: the scripture of the 10,000 saints emperor created in a previous life. Body refining techniques: the myriad paths of body refining technique, and the record of moon shadow concentrating the spirit. Luck value: 16,573,000, 16,507,000, 3,000. Fortune level: pale gold. Current location: southern frontier of the eastern wilderness sky domain, Izumo Empire. Ifold: late stage of the divine fire realm, truly worthy of being called the Chosen One, recovering so quickly even after having his cultivation destroyed twice. Ao Yuan couldn't help but sigh. Ao Yuan was no longer surprised by such unreasonable beings as the Chosen One. Yi Ziu achieved a level of cultivation that others could not reach in decades or even centuries in just 10 years, and at an astonishing speed. Without real-time system monitoring, such enemies are virtually impossible to defend against. The slightest lapse in vigilance could result in their cultivation level exceeding expectations. Thinking of all this, Ao Yuan's regard for Yi Ziu increased even further. This time, when he came to the southern frontier, he was determined to make Yi Ziu bleed a lot several times. Ideally, we should cripple her cultivation a few more times, so she can properly experience the process of rebuilding. Once the loan is paid off, we will eliminate Yi Ziu with swift and decisive action, thus completely resolving the potential threat. Brother Dao, you cannot stay in the teleportation array for too long. Please step out of the array. The cultivator in charge of maintaining order saw that Ao Yuan was standing still and quickly stepped forward to remind him. Ao Yuan snapped out of his reverie and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, fellow Taoist. I was just lost in thought and forgot that I was in a teleportation array. I apologize." He quickly clasped his hands in apology to the other party. The cultivator nodded and said, "In that case, brother, you should leave the formation as soon as possible." Ao Yuan replied, "Okay," and then quickly walked out of the last transfer teleportation array. After exiting the teleportation array, Ao Yuan strolled leisurely down the main street of Tianchu City. At this moment, Ao Yuan appeared as a human, and even if the great sage passed by, he would not recognize Ao Yuan's identity. The cultivators coming and going on the street were of all kinds, with various clothes and styles, but without exception they were all human cultivators. These people, whether hurrying by or stopping to chat, bring life and vitality to the entire city. The shops on both sides of the street were open quietly, with 1 or 2 cultivators occasionally going in and out. The shops displayed all kinds of magical treasures, pills, and other items, a dazzling array. In the distance, the human race's skyscrapers soared into the clouds, their imposing presence awe-inspiring. These buildings are not only tall and majestic, but also exude powerful spiritual energy fluctuations, clearly indicating that they were meticulously designed and constructed. In order to better deal with Yi Ziu, Ao Yuan also changed his appearance. Using the transformation technique in the 8-9 arcane arts, Ao Yuan transformed into a strange man and named him Shen Gongbao. Meanwhile, in the city lord's mansion of Tianchu City, the crown prince was angrily smashing things. "Useless, all of you are useless. You can't even catch a lowly mortal. Get out, all of you get out." The crown prince's hysterical howling. For 3 whole months, Prince Wang not only failed to capture Yi Ziu, but also lost dozens of his men. Not long ago, Yi Ziu completely destroyed some of the businesses under the prince's control and even left some sarcastic remarks. This led to the crown prince being severely ridiculed by the other families. On the other side, Yi Ziu had just come out of an auction. As an emperor, Yi Ziu possesses countless disguise techniques. He can easily enter a city by simply picking one out. Your Highness, you didn't expect me to enter the city so openly, did you? Yi Xiu's lips curled slightly upwards. 3 months ago, she encountered a slight accident during her ascension, and then ascended to the southern border region. As soon as she arrived at the ascension platform, she was harassed by a woman who was jealous of her beauty, and then that prince appeared. Then she left. However, the matter did not end there. Not long after Yi Xiu left the ascension platform, he discovered that someone was following him. Having just arrived in the upper realm, Yi Xiu was also short of money. Seeing that people were coming to her of their own accord, Yi Xiu naturally accepted them all, dealt with the people who were following her one by one, and took the storage bags from them. That night, several more people sneaked into the inn where Yi Xiu was staying, but Yi Xiu was already prepared and took them down one by one. However, Yi Xiu didn't get any useful information out of him. However, when Yi Xiu first arrived in the upper realm, he offended very few people. Apart from Bo Gang, who started a fight as soon as he arrived, there was only the prince, whom he had humiliated in public. Bo Gang, a mere mid-stage divine fire realm cultivator, could not possibly have gathered so many assassins to deal with her. The answer is obvious. That hypocrite, the crown prince, coveted her beauty, and when his advances failed, tried to force himself on her. Faced with this for the first time, Yi Xiu's face turned green. She, a dignified straight man, never expected that one day she would be targeted by a spoiled brat. What kind of nonsense is this? Yi Xiu was utterly speechless, but he had no choice but to face it. There's nothing we can do about it. After all, she has such an incredibly beautiful appearance. Since we're here, let's make the best of it. Afterwards, Yi Xiu began to investigate the crown prince's whereabouts, and then sought an opportunity to take revenge. Using the stolen medicinal herbs, Yi Xiu successfully settled down in Tianshu City, waiting for the Void Realm to open. Chapter 166, The City of the Void. Half a month later, the prodigies from all over the country arrived in Tianshu City one after another. Brother Shen, this trip to the secret realm is settled then. But I am not skilled in killing. If it were just the two of us, this journey into the secret realm might be. Ao Yuan sighed repeatedly. Brother Shen, there's no need to worry. I've gathered some trustworthy brothers for this trip to the secret realm. You just need to focus on breaking the restrictions, Qin Shu, the human prodigy who was teaming up with Ao Yuan, assured him. Very well, Ao Yuan's expression softened, and his expression became sincere. Ha ha ha, Qin Shu laughed heartily. Brother Shen, we will meet here in 3 days. All right, Ao Yuan nodded quickly, agreeing with the second-level prodigy's words. After parting ways, Ao Yuan returned to the room he had rented in advance and quietly waited for the Void Realm to open. The Void City was originally called Sky City. It was an ancient human city that stood in the sky, but 60 million years ago, a sudden change occurred, and the entire city disappeared overnight. At the time, a human emperor also investigated the truth behind the disappearance of Sky City, but ultimately found no clues and had to let the matter drop. 300,000 years ago, this city, which had disappeared for 60 million years, reappeared. The human race immediately dispatched a team led by a great sage to explore the area, but none of them survived. In the end, it was the great emperor who intervened and successfully resolved the matter. Soon after, this mysterious city was named the Void City and became a once-in-10,000 years open secret realm, allowing geniuses of all races to enter, kill the void creatures within, and obtain the essence of the void to temper their physical bodies. Whenever the Void City opens, the geniuses of the 4 regions eagerly participate. Hence, this secret realm also has another name, the Battle of the Minor 10,000-Year Geniuses. As a natural battlefield, it is natural for the elites of all races to come here to compete. In the original timeline, Yi Xiu also rose to fame in a battle of 10,000 years of geniuses here, becoming the most promising rogue cultivator among the younger generation. In the original timeline, Yi Xiu's cultivation level was at the peak of the Dao severing stage when he entered the Void City, and he also had some underlings with him. However, Yi Xiu's cultivation level is currently stuck at the late stage of Divine Fire, and he is alone, so the only area he can explore is the outermost edge of Void City. But as a chosen one, his opportunities are bound to be plentiful. Although Yi Xiu is currently a level below the original trajectory, if left unchecked, he is still very likely to successfully enter sainthood through the secret realm and achieve a real-world comeback. Therefore, Ao Yuan deliberately changed his identity and infiltrated the group as an ordinary human cultivator. Firstly, to remain hidden in the shadows and avoid alerting the enemy. Secondly, to facilitate the hunting of villains and pay off the debt as soon as possible. What does the person killed by Shen Gongbao of the human race have to do with Ao Yuan, the Dragon Prince? 3 days later, Ao Yuan arrived at the meeting place at the agreed time. When Ao Yuan arrived, several people were already waiting there. Besides Qin Shu, there were 5 men and 2 women, making a total of 9 people, including himself. Upon seeing Ao Yuan, one of the men immediately came forward with a warm smile on his face. "I am One Ear, skilled in stealth and reconnaissance. I have met fellow Taoist Shen," the man introduced himself. "I am Shen Gongbao, greetings to fellow Taoist One-Eared." Ao Yuan bowed slightly in response. "This person seems quite clever, with a cunning glint in his eyes. He's probably a talented person." Then a tall, stern-faced man who looked like a scholar stood up, clasped his hands in greeting to Ao Yuan and said, "My name is Wang Fugui. You can call me Scholar, I don't mind. Long Yashin, a gun master. A diviners. Dan Dayazi." The other 3 simply stated their names. Then a tall young woman dressed in white gauze walked gracefully to Ao Yuan. With a gentle smile on her face, she said softly, "This humble girl, Guer, greets fellow Taoist Shen." Her voice was as melodious as a nightingale's song. Ao Yuan smiled slightly and returned the greeting, saying, "So you are Farik, I've heard so much about you." Guer lowered her head shyly and said softly, "Fellow Taoist Shen, you flatter me. I am but a humble woman." After saying that, she stepped aside and said no more. The last aloof woman glanced at Ao Yuan expressionlessly, then coldly uttered 2 words, "Nai Yue." At this moment, Qin Shu stood up and called out to everyone, "All right, everyone, now that everyone is here, let's set off." With that, he led the way out of the room, and the others followed him. Ao Yuan took a deep breath, composed himself, and then followed Qin Shu to their destination. The Void Realm had already opened yesterday. Qin Shu and the others had low cultivation levels and did not intend to compete with those top geniuses. The Void City will open in 10 years. The flow of time inside and outside the city is different. Being one day earlier or later will not have a significant impact. Qin Shu's goal was a hidden ruin on the outskirts, which his ancestors had discovered 10,000 years ago. Its location was extremely secluded and unknown to anyone. Unfortunately, only a map and a few scattered messages were passed down at home, with little other information. Since the ruins are protected by array formations and restrictions, and Qin Shu is unfamiliar with array formations and restrictions, he has no choice but to find the appropriate help on his own. The helper can't be too strong, otherwise they might kill and steal the treasure. Of course, they can't be too weak either, or they won't be able to get in. In the end, Qin Shu found Na Yue, a girl who was a genius in formations. Na Yue's additional condition was that she bring someone with her, so she brought her good friend Guer. To prevent dangers within the ruins, Qin Shu sought out his good friends Dan Dayazi and the body cultivating Wang Fugui. Long Yashin is Wang Fugui's older brother, so he was introduced to this place by Wang Fugui. They were still missing someone to break the restriction, so Qin Shu sought out the fortune teller, who was quite knowledgeable about restrictions. The fortune teller, worried about being tricked, recommended his good partner, One Ear, to Qin Shu. As for Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, he was a new friend of Qin Shu. During their conversation, Qin Shu learned that Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, was also proficient in the art of restriction. Fortunately, he invited Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, in to prevent others from defecting at the last minute. After some maneuvering, Qin Shu somehow managed to expand his team of 3 or 4 people to 9, doubling the number he had anticipated. This is a last resort. The Void City does not prohibit killing. Once inside, there are no rules. If one encounters a great opportunity, it is very easy to kill each other. To ensure their own safety, team members often bring 1 or 2 trusted confidants. It is extremely rare to encounter a lone cultivator from out of town like Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan. As the leader, Qin Shu received the largest share of the spoils, and was therefore the most likely to be targeted. Therefore, Qin Shu made up his mind to temporarily recruit Ao Yuan and conceal the existence of the others, all in order to get Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, to side with him and exert overwhelming control over the others. Ao Yuan saw through Qin Shu's intentions from the beginning, but since someone had invited him, Ao Yuan was naturally willing to go with the flow and follow this group of idiots into the secret realm. Chapter 167, Compromise. Upon arriving at the entrance to the secret realm, the diviner looked at Qin Shu with a serious expression and said, "Fellow Taoist Qin, let me make this clear beforehand. If you bring someone in temporarily, that person's share must be deducted from your share. The shares of the rest of us absolutely cannot be changed. Qin Shu nodded repeatedly and quickly replied, of course, it was all agreed beforehand. The rules definitely can't be changed. He also understood that if this kind of thing wasn't handled properly, it could easily cause unnecessary trouble. They had previously agreed on the profit-sharing ratio. Na Yue's side would take 20%, Bu Shensuan's side would also take 20%, Wang Fugui's side would also take 20%, Dan Daozi would take 10%, and Qin Shu would take 30% alone. Qin Shu, Na Yue, and Bu Shensuan can choose one of the obtained treasures in advance, and then the rest of the group will distribute them according to their cultivation needs. The distribution method is relatively fair, ensuring that everyone receives a certain share and avoiding conflicts caused by unequal distribution of benefits. Now that Qin Shu has temporarily added Shen Gongbao, Qin Shu will have to allocate more resources to Shen Gongbao. As for how much is allocated, no one else will concern themselves with that. Fellow Taoist Shen, everyone's share is 10% and your share is also 10%. What do you think? Qin Shu transmitted his voice to Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan. Fellow Taoist Qin, you've concealed so much information from me. This 1/10 share is far too little, Ao Yuan replied via telepathy. Fellow Taoist Shen, this secret realm was discovered by my ancestors. I am sharing this information with you, so naturally I should take the lion's share. Besides, you are not the only one who can break the restrictions, so even a 10% share is already quite substantial, Qin Shaochuan said. Fellow Taoist Qin, I don't know the location of the ruins, but you will eventually have to come out of this void realm. If I make this information public, are you sure you can keep your chance? Ao Yuan said with a cold laugh. Fellow Taoist Qin, you don't want the news of the ruins to be exposed, do you? Qin Shu's face darkened. They haven't entered the secret realm yet. If Ao Yuan wants to leave or directly reveals information, Qin Shu will have no way to deal with Shen Gongbao. Even if they were to enter the secret realm, as long as Shen Gongbao doesn't have the brain fart to threaten others and incur public wrath, those people won't stand up for Qin Shu. Unless Qin Shu chooses to make a huge sacrifice by promising to increase the share for others. But in that case, Qin Shu's losses would be even greater. Sigh, Qin Shu sighed helplessly and compromised. Fellow Taoist Shen, I can privately compensate you with a sum of top-grade spirit stones as a supplement. What do you think? 1,000 top-grade spirit stones, plus priority selection of 3 treasures, how about it? Ao Yuan made an outrageous demand. Fellow Taoist Shen, the profits have already been divided. I have no right to dictate that they agree to your request. Qin Shu's face was gloomy, clearly displeased with Ao Yuan's demand. Everyone watched with great interest without disturbing them. They knew that Qin Shu was negotiating terms with Shen Gongbao. All right. Since fellow Taoist Qin can't make the decision, then I'll compromise further. 1,000 top-grade spirit stones, plus 3 items of your choice from your treasures. Fellow Taoist Qin, if you still don't agree to this request, then I will have no choice but to send out the news about the ruins. I think there will definitely be people outside betting on you when the time comes. Qin Shu's face was ashen, his hands clenched into fists, his heart filled with anger and resentment. However, considering the unfavorable situation for him, Qin Shu ultimately gritted his teeth and agreed to Shen Gongbao's request. Shen Gongbao nodded in satisfaction and laughed loudly. Haha, fellow Taoist Qin is indeed straightforward. In that case, let's set off. Qin Shu took a deep breath, trying to calm his anger, and then said coldly, fine. Then he turned to the crowd and shouted, Gentlemen, it's getting late, let's go inside quickly. His face was very pale, clearly indicating that he was in a very bad mood. Seeing that the two had reached an agreement, the other 7 people said nothing. Qin Shu had chosen these people himself, so he could only say that he had brought it upon himself. The group exchanged glances, used special magic to pull each other together, and then entered the secret realm together. Call out! The world spun around them, and a feeling of weightlessness washed over them. They found themselves on a desolate hill. Is this the void realm? Kure exclaimed excitedly. Kure's gaze swept around, her heart filled with curiosity and anticipation. The others were equally curious about the place, but more than that, they were wary. No one knew what would happen next, so everyone carefully observed their surroundings. Not far away, some scattered black dots crawled around. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a group of low-level void creatures. They come in all shapes and sizes, some crawling, some flying, some running, each exuding a unique aura. Upon closer inspection, one can distinguish void ants, void rats, void birds, void creatures, and even void fish soaring through the sky. These creatures are all unique derivative species of the void realm. They live and reproduce in this mysterious environment, forming a unique ecosystem. Qin Shu, lead the way. Na Yue's cold voice rang out, interrupting everyone's curiosity about these void creatures. Oh, okay, Fairy Nai. Qin Shu seemed to wake up from a dream and quickly responded. Immediately, Qin Shu took out a map of the void realm from his pocket and began to study it carefully. He had clearly looked at the map countless times, but he was still staring intently at the lines, symbols, and red circles, trying to find the correct route. The map information left by the Qin family ancestors was deeply imprinted in Qin Shu's mind. The map of the secret realm in Qin Shu's hand is now covered with various markings and symbols, with pre-made marks hidden within. It can be said that no one but Qin Shu can find the true location of the ruins from it. On the other side, Yi Ziu stumbled and wandered aimlessly through the void realm, searching everywhere for void creatures that could condense void essence. Yi Ziu's location was actually not far from the secret realm that Qin Shu had mentioned. In the original timeline, Yi Ziu, who was cultivating in Tianshu City, overheard a conversation between Qin Shu and his group. After they parted ways, Yi Ziu appeared in front of Qin Shu and after a few threats, joined Qin Shu's team. Under the influence of their aura of luck, the group encountered dangers and setbacks along the way, finally arriving at the lost secret realm. With their efforts, Yi Ziu, relying on his experience from his previous life, managed to open the lost secret realm. Therefore, Yi Ziu also attracted the attention of Na Yue, a genius girl in the art of formations. Now Yi Ziu's life has been disrupted by Ao Yuan. As a woman, Yi Ziu barely managed to arrive in the upper realm 3 months before the void secret realm opened. Due to his low cultivation level and the fact that he had offended the crown prince, Yi Ziu did not join Qin Shu's team as he had in the original story. However, the influence of fate still exists. If Ao Yuan hadn't interfered, this great opportunity would most likely have fallen into Yi Ziu's hands. The only difference is the process. Now that Ao Yuan is hiding in Qin Shu's team, and Na Yue, a woman with a close relationship with Yi Ziu, it seems destined that they would meet again. P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Chapter 168, Cho'Gath the Giant Worm. The essence of the void, I never imagined that such a magical place existed in the eastern lands, eastern wilderness. Yi Ziu stared at the bottle of emerald green liquid in his hand, which emitted a faint light, and a sense of joy welled up in his heart. The essence of the void is a precious essence containing unique spatial power. The common use of void essence is to temper the physical body, making it stronger and more resilient. Moreover, the essence of the void has no side effects whatsoever. As long as the purity is sufficient, even a powerful expert at the Great Sage level can obtain tremendous benefits from it. With the essence of void, I will definitely be able to reach the Saint Realm within 3 years, Yi Ziu declared confidently in his heart. For Yi Ziu, there couldn't be better news than being able to solve the biggest drawback of the ancient sacred body. The ancient sacred body, also known as the ancient waste body in the current cultivation world, requires countless cultivation resources in addition to the fact that the Taoist methods were interrupted due to the changing times. It's fine in the lower realm, since the cultivation level is low then, the true power of the ancient sacred body cannot be manifested, and the required resources are not many. With a little effort, they can still be obtained. Now that the divine fire has been ignited and we have entered the upper realm, the drawback of the ancient sacred body's bottomless pit has begun to appear. Without sufficient resources, we will be trapped in the quagmire of cultivation and find it difficult to make any progress. Countless holy bodies, lacking sufficient resources and guidance from predecessors and sages, constantly encounter obstacles on their cultivation path, unable to effectively improve their realm, and ultimately pass away regrettably due to the exhaustion of their lifespan. Yi Ziu did have the cultivation method for the ancient sacred body, but the required resources had always been a headache for him. The appearance of the void essence was like a long parched land welcoming a nourishing rainy season, completely solving Yi Ziu's problem of insufficient resources for cultivating the ancient sacred body. It is no exaggeration to say that, with the essence of the void, Yi Ziu has a real chance of cultivating the sacred body to its peak. Sizzle! Suddenly, a terrifying scream shattered Yi Ziu's illusion. Yi Ziu looked around and saw a huge, menacing worm with its legs planted firmly on the ground. Several terrifying and ferocious claws swung wildly in the air, and its dark purple eyes were wide open, staring fiercely at the void essence in his hand. Cog haste. Yiziu's expression instantly turned serious. Cho'Gath is the most common void creature in the Void Rift, ranging from low to high rank. The creature in front of him was 10 meters tall, and clearly not a creature that should exist in this area. Kogas, which are 10 to 50 meters tall, are usually around the Dao-slaying realm in strength, but their special living environment makes their physical bodies stronger than ordinary monsters of the same level. Drawn here by the essence of the void, Yiziu smiled wryly as he looked at the void crystal liquid in his hand. I was just making a comment, but I inadvertently attracted an even stronger void creature. What an unexpected discovery. Fine, I'll accept you as a beast for now. Yiziu took a deep breath, a resolute glint in his eyes. As Yiziu finished speaking, the void creature seemed to sense his provocation, letting out a low roar and lunging at him. Yiziu flashed away, quickly dodging the opponent's attack, and took the opportunity to unleash a sharp sword aura, slashing towards the void creature. Yiziu was well prepared to deal with the void creatures. The top-grade spiritual weapon in her hand was a handy weapon she bought from the auction house. Good. Yiziu snorted coldly, and a sword aura suddenly rose from the ground, carrying tremendous power and slashed towards Cho'Gath at lightning speed. Oh no, there's a fight ahead, the fortune teller shouted in shock. Upon hearing this, everyone tensed up and looked ahead. Sure enough, sword energy surged not far ahead, clearly indicating a fierce battle was taking place. Qin Shu's expression turned extremely ugly, because he saw that the location of those cultivators was less than 1,000 meters away from the lost secret realm. If they manage to decipher the ruins, they will surely attract the attention of the other side. Damn it, Qin Shu cursed inwardly. The ruins discovered by his ancestors had been visited by people even after 10,000 years. What bad luck. Seeing Qin Shu's bitter expression, One Ear asked worriedly, "Fellow Taoist Qin, is the ruins nearby?" Qin Shu nodded with a stern face and said in a heavy tone, "Exactly." "What should we do then?" Gyur asked anxiously. "Don't worry, there's only one enemy, and he's fighting a Cho'Gath." One Ear, who had the ability to pinpoint sound locations, said to the group. "One person is not as good as all of us." Wang Fugui made a throat-slitting gesture. "There's only one enemy, while we have 9. Plus, Fairy Nayue's formations are superb, so there's absolutely no need to worry about them escaping." "I agree with Fu Gear's suggestion." Long Yashin immediately chimed in. "But the other party is only hunting void creatures here. It's not really appropriate for us to just kill him like this," Gyur said, her saintly heart suddenly kicking in. Everyone looked at Gyur. "Misk, this is a secret realm, not the outside world. If we let this person leave, the secrets of the ruins will be exposed, and we may all return dead," the fortune teller warned, somewhat displeased. But Gyur still couldn't bear it. "There are no buts. Not killing him would be very disadvantageous for us." One Ear also stood up to support Long Yashin. "In my opinion, we should go and assess the situation first. If the opponent is weak, we can take them down directly. If the opponent is strong, we can use them to explore the ruins," Ao Yuan suggested, trying to mediate. "Fellow Taoist Shen, if you intend to bring this person in, I will not be paying any more of your share," Qin Shu warned in a low voice. Ao Yuan smiled and continued. "Fellow Taoist Qin, my suggestion is that if this person is strong, then bring him in. But if fellow Taoist Qin insists on killing him, I don't think you all want someone to get injured outside the ruins." This, everyone fell silent. Just as Shen Gongbao said, they gathered here for the opportunity of the ruins. But if they get injured before even entering the ruins, it will greatly affect their future opportunities. Furthermore, the condition inside the ruins is unknown. If someone is injured and unable to contribute, the amount of opportunities they receive will definitely be reduced. If they encounter danger, they may even perish in the ruins. At this moment, Dan Dayazi, who had been silent all along, stepped forward and said, "Fellow Taoist Shen is right. I have recently developed a strange poison that is colorless and odorless and can kill people invisibly. In my opinion, we can recruit this person, secretly poison him, and then slowly take action against him. What do you think? Since fellow Taoist Dan is confident, then let's follow fellow Taoist Dan's method." Qin Shu immediately voiced his support for Taoist Dan. Everyone nodded in agreement. Using poison against enemies can not only reduce the risks of direct conflict, but also achieve goals more covertly. However, everyone secretly became wary. Although everyone agreed to Dan Dayazi's plan, they still harbored suspicions about this mysterious alchemist. After all, no one knows whether Dan Dayazi will deliver a heavy blow at a crucial moment. Since Dan Dayazi is confident, let's go, Wang Fugui said. His gaze swept over the crowd, and he gave a subtle look to Qin Shu, the person in charge. Chapter 169 Night Show, Shot the Girl. Not good. A sudden warning flashed through Yi Ziu's mind, and he instinctively sensed a strong sense of danger. Without the slightest hesitation, she swiftly dodged to the side. Just as he dodged, a dark shadow struck like lightning, carrying a sharp aura and immense power. With a loud boom, the dark shadow instantly pierced the abdomen of the giant worm, Cho'Gath. Koga's let out a painful and angry roar. Ayo! Its huge body twisted, venting its extreme dissatisfaction with the sudden two-legged beast's sneak attack. Koga's huge eyes were filled with rage as he stared intently at Yi Ziu, as if he wanted to tear him to pieces. Upon seeing the spear embedded in Kog'Maw's abdomen, Yi Ziu's pretty face grew serious. Not bad you actually managed to dodge my overlord's spear. As this clear voice rang out, a figure slowly descended from mid-air and landed steadily on the ground. Yi Ziu looked in the direction of the voice, a hint of doubt flashing in his eyes. He didn't recognize the person. The man was dressed in a white robe, looking extremely imposing, with an aura of dominance between his brows. Long Yashin's lips curled up slightly, revealing a faint smile. With a gentle flick of his right hand, the spear that had been embedded in Koga's abdomen suddenly flew back into his hand. This scene startled Yi Ziu. Clearly, this mysterious man had reached the point where he could control the spear as if it were his own. Who are you? Yi Ziu stared warily at the gunman who had suddenly appeared before him, his aura instantly rising to its peak, ready to fight at any moment. I am Long Yashin, the one who will take your life. Long Yashin's lips curled into a smirk, and the intent of his heaven-reaching spear suddenly appeared, as if it were about to tear apart the void, terrifying beyond measure. Yi Ziu gripped his long sword tightly, and the everlasting sword intent erupted instantly, like a dazzling light illuminating the entire space. Fight! Long Yashin roared with laughter, his voice booming like thunder in the air, shaking everyone to their core. In an instant, the intent of the spear and the intent of the sword clashed and intertwined, forming a powerful energy fluctuation. The spear moved like a dragon, its momentum overwhelming, each strike carrying boundless power that chilled the heart. His swordplay is unconventional and flexible, with each strike containing exquisite swordsmanship that makes it impossible to defend against. In this intense exchange, both men displayed astonishing skill and technique. Their movements were swift and precise, and the transitions between their moves were smooth and natural, dazzling the audience. In the blink of an eye, the two had already unleashed dozens of sword and spear techniques. Each attack was so sharp and fierce that it made the surrounding air heavy. Their figures intertwined in mid-air. Sometimes their spear tips clashed, producing a crisp clanging sound. Sometimes their swords clashed, sparking dazzling sparks. This fierce battle was exhilarating and made hearts race. The crowd hidden not far away wore solemn expressions, watching the two on the field intently, afraid of missing any exciting moment. Wow, that female swordswoman is so cool, Gyur exclaimed in surprise. Everyone's eyes turned to this traitorous saint, as if to say, which side are you on, you bastard? Upon seeing this, Gyur immediately shut her mouth, not daring to say another word. Everyone, prepare yourselves. If fellow Taoist Long cannot defeat this sword cultivator, we will intervene immediately to prevent him from being injured, Qin Shu said solemnly. Brother Qin, rest assured, we are not people who are unaware of the bigger picture, One Ear replied solemnly. The formation can be set up at any time. Na Yue held the formation plate in her hand, still maintaining a cool and aloof demeanor. As long as fellow Taoist Qin gives the order, I, Bu, will certainly do my utmost. The divine calculator, Bu, gave a clear answer. Beside him, Dan Dayazi held a pill in one hand and a talisman in the other, poised to unleash a powerful attack. Fellow Taoist Wang, let's go around to the other side and block her escape route, Ao Yuan seriously suggested. Wang Fugui nodded, and along with Ao Yuan, circled around to Koga's location from the left and right sides respectively. At this moment, Koga's, who was far away, was bleeding profusely from his abdomen and was breathing weakly. The battle between Long Yashin and Yi Ziu was extremely fierce. Their spears and swords clashed constantly, producing a piercing sound. The intent of the spear and the intent of the sword clashed with each other, generating strong energy fluctuations that formed powerful shockwaves that spread outwards. At the heart of the battle, Long Yashin's white robe fluttered in the wind, making him appear elegant and dashing. His movements were agile and powerful, each attack carrying a sharp killing intent. From a distance, Long Yashin resembled an invincible white-robed general, inspiring awe and reverence. Yi Ziu was dressed in a plain white outfit, his movements light and agile. Her swordsmanship is flexible and unpredictable, with each move containing endless variations, making it difficult to grasp. Although Yi Ziu's cultivation level was 2 minor realms lower than Long Yashin's, her aura was in no way inferior to his. System, check Yi Ziu's luck. Ding, Yi Ziu's remaining luck value. 16,585,000, 16,585,000. Upon seeing Yi Ziu's remaining luck, Ao Yuan discovered that Yi Ziu's total luck had actually increased by 12,000. Truly worthy of being the chosen one, he's not easy to deal with, Ao Yuan thought to himself. In just a few months, Yi Ziu's luck has increased by more than 10,000 after he readjusted. This is still under the condition that there is no way to show off. If Yi Ziu wins the heart of the female lead or defeats other geniuses by defeating them, his luck value will probably rise again. Of course, there's no need to worry about the former now. It's nonsense, those who know know. As for the latter, no matter how Yi Ziu changes, he will eventually face off against the prodigies of all races, and the only thing he can do is try to interrupt the spellcasting. While Yi Ziu was engrossed in the battle, Ao Yuan openly appeared behind Cho'Gath and with a snap, eliminated an enemy for Yi Ziu. Ao Yuan reluctantly accepted this void essence of Cho'Gath for Yi Ziu, considering it a fee for his services. Damn it, you tricked me, Yi Ziu cursed. Upon discovering that his base had been raided, Yi Ziu hurriedly unleashed a sword strike, quickly turned around and charged towards Ao Yuan. In the blink of an eye, everyone was stunned. Shen Gongbao's sudden attack without a word truly surprised Qin Shu and the others. Didn't Shen Gongbao say he wasn't good at killing? How come he's so brave if he's not good at killing? They're just throwing their lives away. This is absolutely outrageous. Ao Yuan dodged Yi Ziu's sword light with a serpentine movement and quickly ran towards Wang Fugui's location, shouting as he ran, "Fellow Taoist Wang, help me." Upon hearing Shen Gongbao's shout, Wang Fugui immediately reacted, pushing off with both legs and leaping past Ao Yuan at incredible speed. He quickly unleashed several punches to block Yi Ziu's subsequent sword light. At the same time, Long Yashin arrived with his gun in an instant. His eyes were sharp and his movements were agile. With a light flick of his white spear, he aimed straight for Yi Ziu's throat. Yi Ziu sensed the threat and quickly bent her body backward to avoid Long Yashin's spear. However, the white spear grazed Yi Ziu's snow-white chin, leaving a faint mark. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Upon seeing this, the others no longer held back and unleashed their ultimate techniques. The battle begins. The area within a 10-mile radius was instantly completely enveloped by the formation. Dan Daozi was surrounded by talismans. Qin Shu's hands were crackling with lightning, and Gyur held her long whip tightly. With Long Yashin's sharp spear intent added to the danger, Yi Ziu was immediately in peril. There were 9 people on the other side. A spear cultivator at the mid-stage of the Dao-slaying realm, a body cultivator at the early stage of the Dao-slaying realm, a lightning cultivator at the early stage of the Dao-slaying realm, a talisman cultivator at the peak of the divine fire realm, a whip-wielding woman at the peak of the divine fire realm, an array cultivator at the mid-stage of the Dao-slaying realm, and the 6th person at the early stage of the Dao-slaying realm. This kind of situation would be enough to defeat any ordinary cultivator. Yi Ziu remained calm, activating his internal secret technique. At this moment, a strategic retreat began to take hold in Yi Ziu's mind. "Fellow Taoist, how about we call a truce and talk things over?" Qin Shu suggested with a smile. "P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals." Chapter 170, Yi Ziu joins. Upon hearing Qin Shu's words, Yi Ziu laughed, a laugh born of anger. "Talk," Yi Ziu sneered, his tone filled with obvious sarcasm and dissatisfaction. "You attacked me without any explanation, and now you think you can solve the problem with a simple talk. You're being far too naive." Yi Ziu kept his eyes fixed on Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, Qin Shu, and the others, his eyes filled with vigilance, ready to retreat at any moment. "Fairy, we were indeed in the wrong just now. We are willing to offer a reasonable compensation," the fortune teller stepped forward and advised. "Yes, fellow Taoist, I was indeed flustered just now and struck too hard, injuring your beauty. If you don't mind, please accept this beauty pill." As he spoke, Long Yashin took out an exquisite little bottle, and a pure white pill appeared before everyone. The aroma of the elixir filled the air, and the elixir itself was adorned with 6 cloud-shaped patterns, indicating it was a top-grade elixir. When Long Yashin took out the superior beauty pill, a strange light flashed in Na Yue's eyes. Although the beauty pill is not a high-level elixir, its powerful effects have made it extremely rare and expensive, and it is always in high demand and short supply. Whenever it appears, it attracts countless female cultivators to scramble for it. For female cultivators who cherish their appearance, this pill is indeed an irresistible compensation. Yiziu remained unmoved. As a mere beauty pill, she, a emperor-level alchemist, could naturally refine it and of the highest quality. The reason I chose to stay and waste time talking to these people was mainly to see what their purpose was in coming here. A group of cultivators who had reached the Dao Severance stage appeared here, clearly indicating that this place was not ordinary. If she wasn't mistaken, these people must know that there was some opportunity here. Fellow Taoist, to be honest, we have come here for a certain relic. If you are interested, you might as well come with us to explore it. Qin Shu got straight to the point and extended an invitation to the other party. Seeing Qin Shu take the initiative to extend the invitation, Dan Daozi quickly chimed in. This ferry, if you agree to join us, then we'll be on the same side. But if you don't agree, he didn't finish his sentence, but the threat in his words was obvious. At this moment, Gyur also stepped forward, looking at the other person with an expectant expression, and said in a sweet voice, Sister, please join us. Heh, Yiziu chuckled lightly, his expression cold and tinged with mockery as he said, You all have quite the nerve. If I, the Holy Maiden, didn't join you, would you all kill me on the spot? Upon hearing the words Holy Maiden, everyone present was startled. It should be noted that in the upper realm, those who can be called saintesses are only the successors of saint-level forces. The mysterious woman before them claimed to be a saint, which made everyone feel uneasy. After all, someone who can become a saintess must have an incredibly powerful backing. At this moment, everyone was caught in a dilemma. If we really wanted to lay a hand on her, it would be very difficult to kill her. If the forces behind this were to investigate, the consequences would be unimaginable. The atmosphere became extremely tense, and everyone's eyes were focused on Qin Shu, waiting for him to make his final decision. They couldn't be killed, nor could they be harmed. They could only redistribute the spoils, and this resource would naturally be borne by Qin Shu, the organizer of the team. Feeling the gazes of everyone, Qin Shu sighed deeply, his heart filled with helplessness and bitterness. Fellow Taoist, this ruin is incredibly mysterious, and the opportunities within are immeasurable. If you are willing to join us, I will give you 10% of the profits. How about it? Qin Shu said with a heavy heart, proposing the profit-sharing plan. The other party is a holy maiden of a religion, with a high status and great strength. If we take strong measures against her, it will not only cause a huge uproar, but may also bring endless trouble to ourselves. To ensure the secrecy of the operation, Qin Shu had to back down and try to win over the other party by offering some benefits. And just like that, the share that originally belonged to me was reduced by another 10%. Okay, Yiziu agreed without hesitation. Upon hearing the other party's agreement, everyone stopped their offensive stances, and Na Yue also removed the array plate. Gyur ran over with an adoring look on her face, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Sister, my name is Gyur. What's your name, sister? She blinked her bright eyes and looked expectantly at the mysterious and powerful woman in front of her. Yiziu pondered for a moment, a cunning thought rising in his mind, and then slowly said, Yi Duxiu. Yi Duxiu, the crowd exclaimed in unison, their faces showing surprise. They quickly searched their memories for the name, but to no avail. The name was completely unfamiliar to them. They seemed to have never heard of it before. However, no one suspected anything. The Eastern Wilderness is a vast and boundless region, home to countless unknown forces and figures. If Yi Duxiu comes from an outer region, it is normal that they are unaware of his lineage. After all, acquiring intelligence also costs money, and for ordinary cultivators like them, understanding the forces of other regions is not very useful. In short, I don't fight those I can't beat. I don't get involved in crowded places, and I don't go to dangerous places, so I rarely run into those kinds of people. Yiziu nodded slightly, then walked lightly to Shen Gongbao Ao Yuan, extended his delicate, crystal-clear hands, and said coldly, Give it to me. What do you want? Ao Yuan looked bewildered and innocent, as if he really didn't know what Yiziu wanted. You just stole the void essence. Yiziu's eyebrows furrowed, and he reminded her with a hint of annoyance in his voice. For some reason, Yiziu always felt a strange displeasure towards the strangely looking man in front of him. Oh, so you're talking about the essence of the void? I thought it was something important. Since you want it, I'll give it to you. Ao Yuan pretended to suddenly realize something, then gently waved his right hand, and a ball of emerald green liquid appeared in front of everyone without warning. This crystalline liquid emitted a rich energy fluctuation, which was truly astonishing. Simply by sensing it, one can feel the immense power it contains. HMPH! Yiziu snorted coldly, accepting the tampered void essence with an icy expression. After Yiziu retrieved the essence of void, Qin Shu immediately announced their departure. The search for the ruins is of utmost urgency. With the addition of Yi Duxiu, Yiziu, the original 9-person team instantly became a 10-person team. The group continued their journey into the secret realm. Soon Qin Shu excitedly shouted, "We've arrived." "A secret realm? There isn't one. This place is all hills. Where would there be any secret realm? Qin Shu, are you sure you're not mistaken?" One ear asked doubtfully. "That's right, this is the lost secret realm our ancestors spoke of," Qin Shu affirmed solemnly. "But there's nothing here." The fortune teller calculated for a long time, but couldn't see anything different about this place. "I remember the map very clearly. It's right here." Everyone looked carefully. After all, 10,000 years have passed, and the exterior of the ruins may have changed. Qin Shu explained seriously. Over thousands of years, as the world changes, it's normal for the exact location to shift, but the general orientation will never be wrong. According to the records of the Qin family ancestors, the protective formation of that ruin was extremely powerful, and there were also restrictions on the formation, making it extremely difficult to discover. The Qin family ancestor stumbled upon the formation by accident, which is how he discovered the ruins. However, since the Void Realm was about to close, the Qin family ancestor did not have time to study the formation, so he could only memorize the specific location of the realm and leave helplessly. Chapter 171, Yan Xing's Azure Sky Formation. "Found it, finally found it." Suddenly, a joyful voice came from afar. Upon hearing this, everyone perked up and immediately looked in the direction of the sound. Qin Shu jogged over to Wang Fugui's side, then asked excitedly, "Fugui, are you sure you found it?" The others also gathered around, their eyes sparkling with excitement. "What does finding ruins mean? It means a huge fortune. This ruin has existed for tens of thousands of years, and the array formations within it alone are extremely precious treasures. The number of artifacts hidden inside the ruins is incalculable and unimaginable." Everyone was secretly delighted. They'd really struck gold this time. It's out, it's out. They seemed to see countless rare treasures and precious martial arts techniques beckoning to them. "Let me see." Yiziu, who had been slacking off, squeezed through. When everyone saw that the newcomer was the Night Saintess, they politely made way for her. Yiziu looked closely and saw a 2-meter deep pit in front of him. The pit was dark inside, but not deep. With ordinary eyes, he could not see anything at all. Immediately, Yiziu released his divine sense to explore the cave, and then his divine sense suddenly disappeared. The others also used their divine sense to investigate, and they all got the same result. Their divine sense had mysteriously disappeared. It's obvious that it encountered a restriction on the formation, and was cut off and absorbed by the restriction. "So this is where it is. No wonder I couldn't find it," Qin Shu sighed. As expected of a lost relic, its location is surprisingly unexpected, being situated within a pit. This place was already remote, but I never expected the ruins to be hidden in an even more remote pit. You wouldn't find it unless you fell in. Upon discovering the location of the ruins, the group quickly entered the pit, which was narrow at the top and wide at the bottom. An ancient-looking gate stood diagonally above the inner wall of the pit. "Is this the entrance to the ruins?" The fortune teller couldn't help but ask. "That's right, this is exactly what the ruins looked like as recorded by my ancestors. This is it." Qin Shu was filled with excitement. Strange, why would the ruins fall into such a small pit? Qin Shu wondered. According to the records of the Qin family ancestors, the site of the ruins was at the bottom of a lake. There were no living creatures in the lake. Upon discovering the anomaly, the Qin family ancestors risked going down into the lake and discovered this lost ruin. Even if 10,000 years have passed, the lake has dried up, and the lake has collapsed. The ruins should not be located on the sloping wall. Qin Shu was completely baffled, but chose to keep it a secret from everyone. Na Yue stepped forward, pulled out several array pieces, and began to carefully study the strange gate. But before the banners even touched the door, they turned to ashes and fell to the ground. Na Yue. Annihilation restriction? The fortune teller's face was filled with disbelief. Annihilation restriction? What's that? Wang Fugui asked, not understanding. The fortune teller glanced at Wang Fugui speechlessly and explained calmly. The annihilation restriction, as the name suggests, can annihilate all energy and is extremely difficult to break. So our divine consciousness was annihilated by this thing, Guer complained dejectedly. Fellow Taoist Bu, can this restriction be broken? Qin Shu looked anxiously at the divine calculator Bu. The fortune teller shook his head and sighed. There is no solution, at least not for us. Annihilation restriction. Let alone them, even a saint-level restriction master would be forced to retreat on the spot. What can be done? Qin Shu sighed, looking up in despair. After planning for over a decade and finally finding a group of people, I managed to reduce my own profits to 10%, but in the end, it was all for naught. Well, everyone sighed. Having encountered the annihilation restriction, it seems this trip to the ruins is doomed. Everyone was disappointed. They spent a lot of time and energy to get here, only to face this insurmountable obstacle. Pain and helplessness were written on everyone's faces, as if all hope had been shattered. However, at that moment, a clear and firm voice suddenly rang out. No. Everyone turned their heads and saw Yi Duxiu standing there with her stunningly beautiful face, her eyes gleaming with an unusual light. Knight Saintess, what's wrong? Qin Shu raised his head in confusion, looking at the Saintess. This is not a restriction, Yi Duxiu said succinctly. Her tone was calm yet firm, inspiring awe in all who heard it. Knight Saintess, although you are a saintess of a religion, I, Bu, am not mistaken about this restriction. Bu Shensuan looked at Yi Duxiu with displeasure. He was full of confidence in his judgment and believed that Yi Duxiu might be deliberately provoking his authority. Yi Duxiu smiled slightly, a hint of disdain flashing in her eyes. She didn't care about others' doubts because she was absolutely certain. Knight Saintess, since you say this isn't a restriction, then what is it? Na Yue unexpectedly asked. Unlike the destined stepping stone, the fortune teller Na Yue, as the lucky heroine on Yi Xiu's road to rise, has a natural trust in Yi Xiu. Under the influence of fate, Na Yue and Yi Xiu, like the original protagonist, chose to hide their identities. Sister Yi, stop keeping us in suspense and tell us already, Guer exclaimed sweetly, her big kawaii eyes sparkling. Guer is a top-tier beauty enthusiast. She likes any beautiful creature with a perfect appearance. You see, this annihilation power is indeed composed of powerful magic, but it is not a pure restriction, Yi Duxiu explained. This formation is called Yan Xing Bai Luo formation. It is a super-complex formation that can evolve annihilation power. It absorbs the power of the one who breaks the formation invisibly, strengthens its own power with external force, and overcomes the hard with the soft. Upon hearing Yi Duxiu's explanation, Na Yue stepped forward to observe more closely, and indeed discovered the subtleties of the annihilation power. This power was indeed not a restriction, but an ancient array she had never seen before. Even if it was formed from an ancient formation, she had never seen it before and could not figure out a way to break it. Using an array to simulate the power of a restriction, such an ingenious design requires an extremely high level of expertise in array formations to set up, Yi Xiu praised without reservation. Everyone was amazed upon hearing this. They originally thought it was just a simple annihilation restriction, but they didn't expect it to be so complicated. However, some people have raised questions. Even if it's a formation, so what? We still can't break it. Yi Duxiu smiled confidently and shook his head slightly. Yan Xing Bai Luo's formation has been going on for so long that it has weakened countless times over. Once we find the weak point in the formation, breaking it will be a natural process. HMPH, the fortune teller sneered, his face full of anger and mockery. So what if you figure out what this Yan Xing Bai Luo formation is? You still can't break it, can you? They even found a weak point in the formation. If they really wanted to find a weak point, I could do it myself. Yi Xiu ignored the fortune teller's words and quietly watched Na Yue break the formation. She has at least dozens of ways to break the already weakened Yan Xing Bai Luo formation. When Na Yue returns after the blood oath and everyone is at a loss, she will step forward to break the formation. In this way, she can subtly increase her influence within the team. All right, don't delay any longer, I'll do it. At this moment, Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, who had been standing at the back of the line, stepped forward. Amidst everyone's confusion, a ball of pale blue flame rose from Ao Yuan's hand. Azure Ice Flame, Yi Xiu's pupils contracted. Heavenly Fire. I never expected that this sixth brother would possess heavenly fire. But soon, Yi Xiu noticed the difference in Shen Gongbao's flames. No, This is not pure Azure Ice Flame, but Azure Ice Flame Subflame. Although the Azure Ice Flame Subfire is not as powerful as the real Azure Ice Flame, it is still enough to be awe-inspiring. Azure Ice Flame, fellow Taoist Shen, I never expected you to possess such a flame, Long Yashin exclaimed from the side. As a renowned figure on the Heavenly Fire ranking, Qian Lan Bingyan is known to almost every cultivator with even a slight family background. Ao Yuan shook his head and said modestly, "Fellow Taoist Long is too kind. How could a cultivator like me possess the Azure Ice Flame? This flame is actually just a secondary flame. Fortunately, my elders in the family doted on me and spent a lot of money to buy one from an old master, who then gave it to me to use." Upon hearing this, Long Yashin nodded in sudden realization and said with a smile, "So it's Zihuo. I was mistaken, haha. Indeed, if it were the real Azure Ice Flame, Ao Yuan, with his current cultivation level, would have no way of refining it. After all, the Azure Ice Flame is capable of scorching holy energy. Even a junior who has just broken through to the Tao, no matter how wealthy he is, would find it difficult to control such a powerful flame. The Azure Ice Flame, on the other hand, is much gentler and more suitable for cultivators at his stage. Fairy Nai, step back and let me break this formation," Ao Yuan reminded her. Nai Yue nodded and quickly stepped aside, not daring to approach. Yi Ziu was furious, but he also stepped aside with Nai Yue. The Azure Ice Flame possesses the powerful ability to burn holy energy, and its subflames can easily incinerate formations. With the Azure Ice Flame and Fire, the mere Yan Xing Azure Sky formation is nothing special. P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals. Chapter 172, The Quick-Witted Night Saintess. Under the terrifyingly high temperature of the Qianlan Ice Flame, Yan Xing Biluo formation could no longer be maintained and instantly collapsed and became ineffective. Ding, the host has successfully interrupted Yi Ziu's boasting and changed his first impression of the heroine Nai Yue. Yi Ziu's luck value has been reduced by 2,000, and the host has gained 20,000 villain points. It's broken. Upon seeing this, everyone's faces lit up with joy and excitement. As expected of the Azure Ice Flame, its uses are truly endless. Dan Daozi couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Ao Yuan withdrew the Azure Ice Flame into his body, turned to the crowd and said, "The formation is broken, let's go in." With that, he led the way into the formation. Upon hearing this, everyone followed Ao Yuan into the formation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The group arrived at a vast plain. As far as the eye could see, the grassland stretched out endlessly, covered in lush green grass, a scene teeming with life. But all I saw was grass. "Isn't it a little too quiet here?" someone muttered. The others were taken aback, but quickly realized what was going on and nodded in agreement with serious expressions. Yes, something is definitely wrong. Ao Yuan frowned slightly, a sense of unease immediately rising in his heart. He took the opportunity to pull everyone tightly to his side and said in a deep voice, "Everyone be careful, there may be something strange about this place." Everyone revealed their magical weapons, their expressions tense as they watched their surroundings, not daring to relax for a moment. The grass on the grassland wasn't very tall, only reaching about chest height. However, after thousands of years, even these ordinary grasses, as long as they survive, can cultivate intelligence. Just then, a cold and emotionless female voice suddenly rang out, "Intruder, die." In an instant, the once peaceful grassland became restless. The surrounding grass seemed to come alive, growing rapidly and intertwining to form green ropes that swept towards the crowd from all directions. Entwined with green grass, upon seeing the incoming attack, everyone instantly unleashed various spells and spiritual techniques. Sword intent, spear intent, flames, ice. All sorts of attack methods erupted at this moment. As the dust settled, the once lush grassland was instantly cleared by the crowd, creating a clearing. "Found it." Yi Ziu's lips curled up slightly, revealing a smile. Her gaze was as sharp as a hawk's, scanning the surrounding environment. Suddenly, her gaze locked onto a patch of grass on her left. "That's it." Yi Ziu swung his sword without hesitation. A sharp sword aura roared out, carrying unparalleled power, and slashed towards the bushes. Invincible golden body. Just as the sword light was about to reach the soft bone rabbit, the soft bone rabbit instantly activated its life, saving supernatural power. Invincible golden body. A layer of golden light enveloped its body, making it look like a little golden rabbit. The sword light struck the invincible golden body, producing a crisp impact sound. The soft-boned rabbit flew backwards for dozens of meters in an instant, smashing countless blades of grass along the way. Yi Xiu's attack was not over yet. The next second, dozens of terrifying auras surged towards the soft bone rabbit from all directions. Oh no, the soft bone rabbit's heart sank, and it hurriedly tried to escape from this place. But it was too late. Countless sword lights descended from the sky, completely enveloping the area where the soft bone rabbit was located. Each sword light contained immense power, enough to easily kill an ordinary Divine Fire Realm cultivator. Got you? Yi Xiu walked up to the sword cage with a smug look on his face. The group followed closely behind, wary of each other as they walked towards Yi Xiu. Yi Xiu. Wow, what an adorable bunny. Guer's big, kawaii eyes lit up instantly. The soft-boned rabbit? Isn't it extinct? The fortune teller looked at the pink rabbit in the sword of the dragon with a surprised expression. A species from millions of years ago. I never imagined it could survive in this void realm. Wang Fugui sighed. The soft-boned rabbit is a social beast with delicious meat, and its milk is said to nourish the skin and muscles, the fortune teller explained to the crowd. If we capture some and train them, it would be an invaluable asset. Qin Shu immediately thought of the soft-boned rabbit breeding plan. According to historical records, the soft-boned rabbit is a tenacious animal with an extremely strong reproductive capacity. Most importantly, it has an exceptionally delicious flavor. However, the soft-boned rabbit population outside the region has already become extinct. If the breeding is successful, he can become the biggest rabbit owner in Tianshu City. Even if the others also engage in aquaculture, they can't compete with the wide range of trade routes and the supply falling short of demand. Fellow Taoist Qin is absolutely right. This rabbit, when made into spicy rabbit head, would definitely be an absolute must-try. Wang Fugui's eyes gleamed as he looked at the nearly spicy rabbit head in Yi Duxiu's hand. Spicy rabbit head? Guer also started fantasizing. No, bunnies are so awful, how could I eat a bunny? Guer suddenly felt a surge of maternal instinct. The two little people were arguing fiercely. The white little person thought that such a weak creature should be spared, while the black little person thought that they should try the spicy rabbit head that Wang Fugui had mentioned. In the end, the black figure in Guer's mind triumphed over the white figure, and her appetite overcame her saintly heart. Night Fairy, how about we slaughter this rabbit and have a taste? Wang Fugui suggested eagerly. Yes, it's not easy to find a soft-boned rabbit, let's try it first. Dan Daozi quickly chimed in. Whether or not to catch it, you must first taste it to make a judgment. Hearing these strange creatures discussing eating her, the soft-boned rabbit in the cage burst into tears. Wow, don't eat me, I don't taste good. Wow, it's a royal soft-boned rabbit. What great luck! One Ear's eyes immediately lit up with excitement. Legend has it that the royal soft-boned rabbit is not only more intelligent than the ordinary soft-boned rabbit, but also has more delicious and tender meat, making it a rare and nutritious ingredient in the world. Hearing the soft-boned rabbit in her hand speak, Yi Xiu was also filled with novelty. She had heard of the soft-bone rabbit clan before, but such a rare species had long been extinct, and she had never seen one. Yi Xiu untied the sword of dragon's imprisonment, lifted the royal soft-bone rabbit by its ears, and said seriously, Demon, if you lead us out of the grasslands, I will release you, how about it? Ah, let go of me? The royal soft-boned rabbit's ears were in pain from being lifted, and it struggled to escape, but Yi Xiu held it tightly and it couldn't move. The royal soft-bone rabbit's eyes were filled with anger and fear, seemingly very dissatisfied with Yi Xiu's suggestion. Let you go, you heard what they just said. If you don't lead the way, I'll just hand you over to them. Yi Xiu said fiercely, his eyes revealing a hint of ruthlessness. Upon hearing Yi Xiu's devilish whisper, the royal soft-boned rabbit Xiao Wu trembled violently, her eyes filled with terror. Okay, I'll lead the way, but you have to promise me you'll let me go once you get out. The soft-boned rabbit Xiao Wu agreed, her voice trembling with tears. Don't worry, Yi Duxiu, keep my word. Yi Xiu readily agreed. Seeing that his plan had succeeded, Yi Xiu took out a low-grade spiritual artifact-level rope, the beast binding rope from his storage bag, chanted a spell, and firmly suppressed the venerable realm royal soft-bone rabbit in his hand. After settling everything, Yi Xiu looked up at everyone and said, Let's go. Sister Yi, that's a great idea. Guer praised with a bright smile. Truly worthy of being called the Night Saintess, she came up with a solution from the very beginning that none of us had even considered. Qin Shu praised with a smile. Now that the Night Saintess has found a way out, let's set off, Na Yue coldly suggested. Okay, Yi Xiu replied calmly. Chapter 173. What does Xior's promise have to do with me, Shen Gongbao? Soon after walking straight for a while, the group finally left Sunset Grassland and arrived at Gray Mist Forest. Not far behind the group, a densely packed army of soft-boned rabbits had gathered. These soft-boned rabbits all stared wide-eyed at the alien race ahead, ready to attack at any moment. The reason they didn't launch an attack immediately was because Princess Xiao was firmly under Yi Xiu's control. "Alien cultivators, you have now left Sunset Grassland. Release my daughter at once," shouted a huge, soft-boned rabbit royal with the strength of the early stage of the Dao-severing realm. Its voice was full of anger and majesty, causing the surrounding air to tremble slightly. "Did you hear that, you two-legged beasts? Release this princess now immediately, or my army will annihilate you," Xiao Wu threatened arrogantly. Yi Xiu stared intently at the distant army of soft-boned rabbits, seemingly oblivious to the threat posed by the spoils in her hand. She chanted an incantation, and with a series of syllables, the binding ropes instantly loosened their restraints. "You can leave now." As the great emperor, Yi Xiu possesses his own pride and dignity. Since he promised to release Xiao Wu, Yi Xiu naturally would not break his word. "HMPH, you two-legged bastard, you finally realized your mistake, haven't you? How dare you kidnap this princess?" Before Xiao Wu could finish speaking, suddenly, a huge fireball fell from the sky and crashed straight into the army of soft-boned rabbits. In an instant, tens of thousands of soft-boned rabbits vanished into thin air. You, how could you go back on your word?" Xiao Wu cursed angrily. Yi Xiu was stunned, and so were the others. Ao Yuan expressionlessly stretched out a hand, and his immense spiritual power instantly transformed into a ferocious beast that tightly gripped Xiao Wu. "You audacious alien race, how dare you break your promise before me? Today I, Xiao Hao, will make you regret it," the king of the soft-boned rabbit clan roared, his eyes bloodshot. "Fellow Taoist Shen, what do you mean by this?" Yi Xiu questioned displeasedly. Ao Yuan didn't even glance at Yi Xiu, arrogantly saying, "What Xiu promised has nothing to do with me, Shen Gongbao." Upon hearing this, the entire room fell silent. "Xiu." Upon hearing this unpleasant nickname, Yi Xiu's face immediately darkened. Wang Fugui's eyes lit up. Shen Gongbao's words actually made a lot of sense. Yi Duxiu promised to let the monster go, but they didn't agree, so it's perfectly reasonable for them to take action. Qin Shu was also shocked by Shen Gongbao's actions, but upon closer reflection, Shen Gongbao's words made sense. Yi Duxiu had promised to release the rabbit, but he hadn't. Even if we assume that Yi Duxiu agreed to let the rabbit go, he didn't say that others couldn't catch it again. With so many soft-boned rabbits gathered together, if we don't catch them now, when will we? Besides, what does Shen Gongbao's lead have to do with Qin Shu? He was only forced to stand on the side of fellow humans, prioritizing human beings, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Long Yashin stood before him, spear in hand, his eyes gleaming with vigilance, ready to face any potential battle. Meanwhile, the diviner and the alchemist also displayed a posture of being ready to strike. Their eyes were as sharp as eagles, as if they were waiting for a certain opportunity, and once they made their move, it would surely be earth-shattering. Just then, Na Yue sighed inwardly, and the array plate in her hand began to emit a faint light. She took a deep breath and concentrated all her energy on the array plate, preparing to activate the array. "Fairy Nai trapped these rabbits and will split the spoils equally afterward," Ao Yuan suddenly shouted. Upon hearing Ao Yuan's words, Na Yue immediately understood his intention. As Ao Yuan finished speaking, the array plate in Na Yue's hand instantly burst forth with dazzling golden light, enveloping the entire space. "Trapping formation activate," Na Yue whispered. With a flick of her finger, the runes on the array plate began to flash, continuously releasing powerful energy. A powerful force surged from the array plate, forming a huge light shield that trapped the delicious pink rabbits inside. The soft-bone rabbit army trapped in the light barrier sensed the danger and began to scatter. Countless soft-bone rabbits panicked and fled in all directions, trying to find an exit. However, no matter how hard they tried, they could not break through that golden barrier. Sensing the overwhelming spiritual pressure emanating from Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, and his companions, Xiao Hao, the soft-boned rabbit king, was well aware of the situation. The soft-boned rabbit clan has been defeated. In just a few moves, Xiao Hao, the soft-boned rabbit king with ordinary strength, was defeated by Long Yashin. The soft-boned rabbit army in the formation instantly fell apart and fled in all directions, where they were captured one by Ao Yuan, Qin Shu, Bu Shensuan, Wang Fuguir, Dan Daozi, Na Yue, and later Long Yashin. "So many soft-boned rabbits, I've made quite a bit of money," Dandayozi exclaimed with satisfaction. Dandayozi looked at the dense swarm of soft-boned rabbits before him, his eyes gleaming with excitement. These soft-boned rabbits are numerous, numbering in the millions. If calculated according to each person's share, even if divided equally, each person would receive hundreds of thousands of rabbits. With such a large quantity, once taken out, it would definitely be possible to make a fortune. Thinking of this, Dandayozi couldn't help but smile broadly. However, the fortune teller shook his head and sighed. Alas, so many rabbits but so few females, it's such a pity. He frowned, looking somewhat helpless and regretful. Female rabbits are the most valuable resource, as they can be used to breed more soft-boned rabbits. The current scarcity of female rabbits is undoubtedly a great disappointment for them. Hearing what the fortune teller said, Long Yashin patted him on the shoulder and comforted him. Fellow Taoist Boo, there's nothing to regret. We don't have any storage artifacts capable of holding living creatures, so even if we capture enough female rabbits, we won't be able to take them out. There's no other way now. We can only process these rabbits into semi-finished products, and then keep some alive to take out and see if they can be artificially bred. Wang Fugui sighed helplessly. Hearing this, everyone felt a little regretful, but they also knew that this was the best solution at the moment. Just then, Ao Yuan suddenly spoke up. Everyone, don't worry. I happen to have a spatial bracelet that can hold living creatures. If you trust me, you can entrust the rabbits to me for safekeeping, and we will redistribute them after we leave this place. Fellow Taoist Shen, I never imagined you possessed such a precious treasure. It's truly enviable. The diviner couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. However, since Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, had previously used the Qianlin ice flame, the crowd was not too surprised by his amazing abilities once again. Although they became more curious about Shen Gongbao's background, they still chose to believe him and entrusted him with the rabbits they had caught for safekeeping. Unconsciously, the focus of the conversation in the group began to shift towards Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan. Although Ao Yuan never revealed his identity, judging from the treasures he took out, his background was definitely not simple. It could be a sacred place, an immortal lineage, or even an everlasting imperial family. Moreover, their status is definitely not low. The young master was out on a training mission, so how could he possibly covet their meager earnings? Therefore, everyone was willing to believe Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan. Of course, Ao Yuan never intended to split the spoils once he came out. What does the promise made by Shen Gongbao, a human cultivator who had just severed the Tao, have to do with Ao Yuan, the Dragon Prince? After all, these people didn't know Ao Yuan, so how could they entrust the things to the Dragon Clan's imperial son for safekeeping? In the following days, knowing that Shen Gongbao had a spatial bracelet that could hold living creatures, the group conducted a thorough search of sunset grassland, leaving no trace of vegetation in their wake. The entire soft-bone rabbit clan was trampled to death by the crowd. After Ao Yuan's series of actions, Yi Ziu personally participated in the soft-bone rabbit's extermination operation, and Yi Ziu's luck value dropped by another 51,000. P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals Chapter 174, Crisis in the Gray Fog Maze. After resting for a while, the group decided to continue their journey and entered the gray, dilapidated forest before them. When I first stepped into the forest, I didn't feel anything special, but as I went deeper, the surrounding scenery gradually became blurry, as if shrouded in a layer of gray mist. They began to feel dizzy, and their steps became unsteady. Suddenly, a dizzying sensation swept over them, and everyone felt as if they had lost their balance. The scenery in front of them spun rapidly, making them feel nauseous and dizzy. When everyone regained their footing, they found themselves scattered in different places. Oh no, this is a maze, Yi Ziu thought to himself, inwardly groaning. The others also realized what was happening, and their faces showed expressions of panic. Don't panic, everyone, Qin Shu shouted, trying to calm everyone down. However, there was no response. Everyone tried various means of communication, but still received no reply. The sound seemed distorted and dissipated, unable to travel far. Ao Yuan watched all this indifferently, knowing Yi Ziu's original future trajectory, and that the gray mist forest was a maze of heaven and earth formations. Indeed, a dark and stormy night is a perfect time for murder, and a place like the gray mist forest is certainly a suitable location. Thinking of all this, Ao Yuan opened the real-time holographic positioning map, and Yi Ziu's location instantly appeared clearly in Ao Yuan's mind. The mere fog maze has no effect on real-time holographic positioning maps. The heaven and earth maze, I didn't expect this ruin to have such a grand formation. It seems the owner of this ruin is no ordinary person, Yi Ziu thought to himself. It should be understood that constructing a grand array using the ruins and the surrounding world requires at least a saint array master level to accomplish. This formation has stood for millions of years, and its power remains undiminished, demonstrating the profound mastery of the heaven and earth flow formation by its original creator. Fortunately, this formation is just a maze. Otherwise, with my current cultivation level, I would have had to die a bloody death. Yi Ziu exhaled a breath of turbid air and said with lingering fear. Yi Ziu was thankful that he hadn't encountered a killing formation or a complex formation. If it had, even if she were an emperor, she probably wouldn't have been able to escape. Yi Ziu dared not be careless and immediately released his divine sense to check the surrounding situation, but he quickly discovered the anomaly. Yi Ziu was surprised to find that his divine sense could only detect a distance of less than 1 meter, which was even less than the field of vision of the eyes. As expected, this gray mist can block divine sense. Then the sound probably can't get out either. It's really heaven helping me, Yi Ziu thought to himself with relief. Yi Ziu was initially worried about being caught up by Qin Shu and the others, but now it seems they will have a hard time finding her. With this formation, Qin Shu and his people will most likely be trapped here. The only ones who can pose a threat to me on the remaining path are that female formation cultivator and that mysterious Shen Gongbao. However, it will probably take these two a lot of time to figure out this maze, and they will have a hard time keeping up with my speed. It takes a considerable amount of time to get out of such a complex and massive formation. As long as they are trapped for a period of time, she can widen the distance between them and obtain more of the lost treasures. Thinking of this, Yi Ziu immediately became serious and began to search for a way to keep the great formation running. The heaven and earth flowing maze. Luckily, I brought the life-seeking array. Realizing the array was a maze, Na Yue was overjoyed. Having agreed to join Qin Shu in exploring this ancient ruin, Na Yue made many preparations, even bringing out the Heavenly Net Array plate from her home. With the Heavenly Net Array plate guiding us, escaping the gray mist maze is only a matter of time. But the Heavenly Net Array plate can't search for us. What will happen to Yuer? Thinking of Yuer, Na Yue's expression became conflicted. On one hand, there's an incredible opportunity. On the other, there's her best friend. It's an extremely difficult choice. If we choose to search for Yuer, it will definitely take a long time, and whether we can find her at all is another matter. However, if one abandons Yuer to seek opportunities, one may miss the best time to find Yuer. All right, let's explore the ruins first and see if there's a way to unlock or close this secret realm. After a long while, Na Yue finally had an answer in her heart. Finding Yuer in this massive maze is simply unrealistic. Rather than wasting time inside the maze, it would be better to explore the ruins and find other methods. While Qin Shu, Yuer, Long Yashan, Wang Fuguier, and Bu Shensuan were still circling around in the same spot, Ao Yuan quietly arrived not far behind Yi Ziu. As expected of a saint-level maze array, even the rules governing its operation are traps. If we follow those rules, we might really never get out. Yi Ziu shook his head. Fortunately, she was also quite proficient in formations. Otherwise, she would have really fallen for this old coin's trick. The formation was shrouded in mist, so Yi Ziu called it the Gray Mist Maze. The Gray Mist Maze is a very special formation. It can isolate divine sense and sound waves, greatly limiting the means of those who try to break through it. However, it also leaves a way for them to survive. As long as they cannot see the threshold of the formation, they will keep circling around in the same spot until they are exhausted and return to the entrance. However, it is quite unfriendly to mediocre array masters, especially those who have tampered with the operation of the array. Once a trap is deliberately set by the array master, the master will walk into the center of the maze and then be trapped inside. Those who can pass through this formation must either have unparalleled mastery of formations, possess exceptional luck, or have treasures unaffected by the formation. Otherwise, the result will be a dead end, turning into nothingness. Trying to trick me, you're still too green. Yi Ziu's lips curled into a slight smile. Seeing Yi Ziu fall into narcissism again, Ao Yuan casually broke off a branch from the side, which was of moderate length and thickness. Ao Yuan crept closer to Yi Ziu, a wicked smile flashing in his eyes. Ah, Yi Ziu let out a piercing scream. He lay on the ground, tears of humiliation and pain streaming down his face. Ding, the host has ambushed Yi Ziu, the chosen one, and defeated him, breaking through Yi Ziu's back chrysanthemum defense. Yi Ziu's mentality has exploded, and he is filled with immense anger. Yiziu's luck value has plummeted by 30,000, and the host has gained 300,000 villain points. Ding, Yiziu, the Chosen One, has had his chrysanthemum broken, his heart filled with boundless humiliation, his imperial dignity shattered, his spirit broken, and his eyes blazing with fury. Yiziu's luck value has plummeted by 20,000, and the host has gained 200,000 villain points. Damn it, Yiziu clenched his fists. Bastard, I'll kill you, I'll kill you. Yiziu roared, his eyes bloodshot. Yiziu, the mighty emperor of 10,000 fires, was already being turned into a woman, but to think that being turned into a woman would lead to being ambushed, and in such a humiliating way at that. If this person doesn't die, she will have failed as a great emperor of the human race. Ding, Yiziu, the Chosen One, has been brutally violated. He is filled with rage and fury, gritting his teeth and barking in a fit of impotence. Yiziu's luck value has decreased by 10,000, while the host has gained 100,000 villain points. Ding, Yiziu, the Chosen One, has been brutally assaulted, his dignity shattered. Yiziu is furious, but after looking around, he can't find the culprit. His overwhelming anger has nowhere to go. Yiziu's luck value has decreased by 20,000, and the host has gained 200,000 villain points. Ding, Yiziu, the Chosen One, feels immensely humiliated. The more he thinks about it, the angrier he becomes, his eyes practically bulging with rage. Yiziu's luck value has decreased by 30,000, while the host has gained 300,000 villain points. Yiziu, clutching his backside, looked around, his face flushed but found nothing. Chapter 175, Teaming Up with the Lucky Heroine. Bastard, Yiziu roared angrily, her voice echoing in the air. Get out here! Yiziu's eyes were filled with anger as he stared intently at the fog in front of him, as if trying to pierce through it to see the enemy hidden within. Come out and fight me one-on-one if you dare, Yiziu roared. However, the fog remained completely still, without any movement. It was as if the mysterious creature had vanished without a trace, leaving only Yiziu there, roaring angrily. Yiziu clenched her fists, feeling an uncontrollable impulse surge into her heart. She wanted to rush in, find the guy, and teach the thing that attacked her a lesson. However, the pain from the wound severely affected her movements. Whenever she moved, the spicy energy from the wound would take the opportunity to penetrate. The most important thing right now is to suppress and eliminate the spiciness on the wound and heal the injury. Yiziu took a deep breath and tried his best to control his emotions. Although his heart was still filled with anger, Yiziu temporarily suppressed his rage for revenge. Smearing peppercorns on thorny branches is utterly inhuman. Yiziu's face was flushed. She, the great emperor of 10,000 fires, a legendary genius who dominated the Central Plains for millennia, never expected to suffer such humiliation. If she doesn't avenge this, Yiziu swears she will not be human. Whoosh, several sharp sonic booms rang out as fast as lightning. Yiziu's heart sank, and his face instantly turned gloomy. The body reacts instinctively, quickly turning to the side to dodge. Although he didn't know what kind of attack the other party had launched, Yiziu dared not easily take the hit, fearing that it was another treacherous and cunning fellow. After all, they had just suffered a loss and were still traumatized. As Yiziu moved, a soft explosion was heard behind him. Looking back, I saw that the spot where I had been standing was filled with green mist, which looked extremely strange. Seeing this, Yiziu's eyes became even more vigilant, gripping the branch tightly in his hand, ready to deal with any crisis that might arise. Seeing the mist drifting towards him, Yiziu didn't dare touch it and out of caution, chose to retreat. Taking a step back opens up a whole new world. In a place like this, it's best to be cautious, Yiziu comforted himself. This series of attacks doesn't seem to be from native creatures of the secret realm. However, Qin Shu and his group could not possibly move freely in the maze, so Yiziu directly eliminated them. What could it be? Yiziu asked seriously. With so little information, she couldn't make any sense of it. A crisp sound rang out. Oh no, Yiziu felt a chill run down his spine. Boom! A huge explosion rang out, even shaking away the surrounding gray mist for a moment. Ding, Yiziu, the Chosen One, has stepped into a trap set by the host and been blasted 100 meters away by a minefield, severely injured and unconscious. Yiziu's luck value has decreased by 20,000, and the host has gained 200,000 villain points. As the smoke cleared, Aoyuan walked up to Yiziu, whose clothes were disheveled from the explosion. He skillfully removed Yiziu's spatial storage ring, carefully searched his body, and found several talismans that Yiziu had hidden. As expected of the Chosen One, the items you have are quite good, This imperial prince will gladly accept them, hehe tilde. Ao Yuan happily accepted Yi Ziu's equipment, taking advantage of Yi Ziu's unconsciousness. Ao Yuan stripped Yi Ziu naked, and then used the spirit brush on Yi Ziu's body to draw several large turtles on his body. Feeling something was missing, he then wrote down a nonsensical sentence. Female benefactor, this item is destined for my western paradise. This humble monk pays his respects. 3 hours later, a shrill scream suddenly echoed in Yi Ziu's mind. The sound was piercing and sharp, filled with boundless rage. Yi Ziu's eyes were filled with murderous intent. She gritted her teeth and roared, "Bastard, I'm going to kill you, kill you." Yi Ziu's gaze fell on the two-dimensional turtles that were slowly crawling on her body. The appearance of these turtles made her feel endless humiliation and anger. Yi Ziu's delicate body trembled with anger, every muscle tensed up, as if she might explode at any moment. Yi Ziu's eyes turned bloodshot, flashing with a sharp light that seemed to incinerate everything around him. Yi Ziu clenched her fists tightly, her nails digging deep into her palms, blood flowing from between her fingers, but she was completely unaware. At this moment, Yi Ziu had only one thought in his mind, to find the culprit who had turned her into this and make him pay the price. Yi Ziu vowed that she would torture her opponent with the cruelest methods, making the culprit who ambushed her taste all the tortures in the world. At this moment, Yi Ziu had completely lost his mind, his eyes blinded by rage, thinking only of revenge and retribution. The turtle that couldn't move from his body, those shameful XXOO symbols, and the words, "Female benefactor, this item is destined for my western paradise. This humble monk gladly accepts it." These things pierced Yi Ziu's unwavering Dao heart. Yi Ziu has broken down. I, Yi Ziu, hereby swear, whatever you are, you'd better not let me catch you, otherwise I will make you wish you were dead. Yi Ziu's words were dripping with blood. Boom! A blue lightning bolt flashed across the sky, signifying the fulfillment of the oath. In the distance, Ao Yuan glanced at the oath thunder with interest but didn't take it to heart. Yi Ziu, it seems you really like the gift I prepared. Ao Yuan smiled faintly. Yi Ziu will likely stay in the maze for a long time after waking up, searching for the culprit, and incidentally materials to make clothes. During this time, Ao Yuan will not stay in the maze to play with her. Judging by the time, Na Yue, the female protagonist of the Destined Heroine series and a genius in array formations, should have completed about half of the maze's journey. Na Yue possessed the Heavenly Net array disc, which was also Yi Ziu's greatest opportunity in the original trajectory. The Gray Mist maze could not trap Na Yue at all. The ruins were ultimately passed down as an array, which Ao Yuan naturally wouldn't let go of. The Yin-Yang array Dao inheritance is extremely yin and extremely yang. Yi Ziu is currently unable to obtain it, so Ao Yuan decided to accept it with tears in his eyes. Ao Yuan, the future #1 holy array master of the Eastern Wilderness, certainly cannot be left to Yi Ziu. 7 days later, Ao Yuan leisurely walked out of the gray fog maze. Hearing the noise, Na Yue quickly turned around. Fellow Taoist Shen. Na Yue was filled with shock. Her ability to escape the gray mist maze so quickly was entirely due to the Heavenly Net array plate in her hand. Shen Gongbao was only 10 minutes later than her. This fact forced Na Yue to re-evaluate the person in front of her. She thought to herself, this person is not simple. Ao Yuan smiled slightly, cupped his hands to Na Yue and said, "So it's Fairy Nai. Fairy Nai's mastery of formations is profound. I admire you." "Thank you for your kind words, fellow Taoist Shen," Na Yue replied politely. "Fairy Nai, since only the two of us have escaped this maze, why don't we proceed together from here on out?" Ao Yuan extended an invitation with a smile. Looking at Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan's eerie face, Na Yue smiled gently. "Since fellow Taoist Shen sincerely invites you, then Na Yue will respectfully accept your invitation. The ruins are dangerous. Having one more person means having one more person to look after you. Shen Gongbao is a mysterious figure, and since he is in the ruins, Na Yue does not want to antagonize him. At the same time, Na Yue also wanted to see exactly where these geniuses from the ancient Taoist tradition were so strong. Thus, Ao Yuan and the heroine Na Yue, who is destined for greatness, successfully teamed up. As for Yi Ziu, he's still running around naked in the maze, seething with anger. P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals. Chapter 176, The Unconventional Senior. Half a month later, Ao Yuan and Na Yue overcame all obstacles and finally arrived at the deepest part of the ruins. An ancient and magnificent hall stands there, seemingly bearing the weight of endless years and mysterious power. The hall exudes an ancient and solemn aura, inspiring awe in all who behold it. Faced with such a mysterious hall, the two did not act rashly. The two carefully observed their surroundings, wary of any potential dangers. Ao Yuan took a deep breath, turned to look at Na Yue and said, "Fairy Nai, this should be the last chance in the ruins. We must seize this opportunity and act as soon as possible." His voice was deep and firm, carrying an irresistible power. Na Yue nodded slightly, a resolute glint in her eyes. She gripped the weapon tightly in her hand, its blade gleaming coldly, as if proclaiming its sharpness and power to the world. Her body was tense, as if she could unleash tremendous power at any moment, ready to meet the challenge to come. Seeing that Na Yue was ready, Ao Yuan no longer hesitated and decisively pressed the gate mechanism. Click, a sound like ancient gears starting up suddenly rang out, as if a giant beast that had been sleeping for thousands of years was awakening. Under the tense gaze of the two, the ancient gate began to slowly move, and a faint light shone through the crack. Over time, the gap in the door widened, eventually becoming a spacious entrance. The scene inside the door gradually unfolded before the two of them. Ao Yuan did not hesitate at all and stepped into the door first, with Na Yue following closely behind. The layout of the Yin-Yang Array Hall is very monotonous. At first glance, it is empty. There are no ancient stone coffins or strange altars. There are only two solemn statues in the center. These two statues are only the size of a normal person, but they are so lifelike that they seem to have been cast from a real person. Upon closer inspection, one can see that the two statues are a man and a woman. The man holds a long sword and has a stern face, while the woman holds a jade plate and has a kind smile. "Fellow Taoist Shen, do not act rashly. This main hall is a formation," Na Yue hurriedly reminded him. A look of solemnity appeared on her face, clearly indicating that she was wary of this formation. "An array?" Ao Yuan looked at Na Yue with feigned confusion. Na Yue nodded slightly, a hint of confidence flashing in her eyes. She explained softly, "Fellow Taoist Shen, look at those pillars placed in the corners. They are not just random decorations, but part of an ancient and powerful formation. This formation is called the Nine Heavens Soul Locking Formation. It possesses the power to imprison and seal, capable of trapping the soul of anyone who enters." Ao Yuan glanced at the formation and deliberately smiled. "Fairy Nai, this formation has endured countless years. Even an ancient formation should crumble under the ravages of time." After speaking, Ao Yuan paused, his gaze falling on Na Yue, and continued his analysis. "There is not a trace of spiritual energy in this main hall, which shows that the array formations are ineffective. How can one obtain an opportunity if one is so timid and hesitant?" Na Yue's expression changed slightly. She couldn't refute Ao Yuan's words. Although the Nine Heavens Soul Locking Array remained intact, there was no fluctuation of spiritual energy in the entire hall. Shen Gongbao's judgment that the array had failed was indeed somewhat reasonable. However, along their journey, they encountered all sorts of formations. If she hadn't been proficient in formations, the two of them would probably have suffered even more. Now that they've reached the deepest part of the ruins, and the formation here is said to be ineffective, Na Yue feels that something is amiss. "Fellow Taoist Shen, I have been cultivating the art of formation since childhood. Please allow me to check the formations here again." Na Yue looked at Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, with a serious expression. Unfortunately, she had never encountered this ancient formation before, and she didn't know whether the formation was still useful. If the formation is ineffective, that's fine. But if the formation is still effective, then it's dangerous to break in recklessly. "All right," Ao Yuan shrugged, stepped aside, and gave the young man specializing in formations some space. It's still early, and Ao Yuan won't be short of time. Since Na Yue wants to see it, let her study it carefully. "My lord, I think this young lady is quite good. When faced with an opportunity, she can suppress her desires and act cautiously. She is truly a promising talent," the remnant consciousness of the female stone statue said with a smile. This little girl is indeed quite good. She has an innate holy array physique. If she is properly nurtured, she will definitely be able to take that final step," the remnant consciousness of the male stone statue commented. "That male cultivator is much worse. There are no traces of array formations on his body. It's obvious he doesn't practice array formations," the remnant consciousness of the male stone statue continued to comment. "You weren't a formation cultivator back then either, so what makes you feel superior?" the female statue retorted discontentedly. "No, madam, please don't be angry. I didn't say anything. It's just that boy doesn't seem to be suited for the extreme Yang Array Dao," the male stone statue's remnant consciousness quickly explained. "Not suitable? No one has come to this hall for tens of millions of years. If it is not passed on soon, my lineage will be extinct. The female stone statue retorted angrily. Haha, madam, don't be angry. Extreme yin is yang, so at worst we can arrange a marriage between them, just like we did back then. The male statue's remnant consciousness suddenly came up with a good idea. That's a good idea. They look quite well matched. The remnant of the female statue's eyes lit up, and she nodded in agreement. It's decided then. We'll use the pill in a moment, the remnant consciousness of the male stone statue said with a smile. After the two remaining consciousnesses finished their conversation, they simultaneously made their move, injecting their own power into the great formation and activating it with all their might. Oh no, Na Yue exclaimed in alarm. The next second, the power of the formation suddenly erupted, instantly taking the two of them away from their original spot and teleporting them to the inheritance space. Innate sacred array body not bad. Just then, a majestic and ancient voice suddenly rang out, as if it came from a deity from ancient times. Na Yue suddenly raised her head. On the high seat were two enormous figures, a man and a woman, exuding an aura of unparalleled majesty and holiness. Junior Na Yue greets the two seniors. Na Yue quickly bowed respectfully. Junior Shen Gongbao greets the two seniors. Ao Yuan bowed respectfully to the two of them. You two are the first pair to enter the realm of the array in millions of years. Are you willing to accept my inheritance? The male saint's remnant consciousness spoke with a majestic expression. This junior is willing, Na Yue quickly bowed and said. Her voice was clear and melodious, but at this moment it carried a hint of nervousness and excitement. With a flick of his sleeve, the male saint's remnant consciousness produced two pills that appeared before Ao Yuan and Na Yue respectively. This elixir is to be taken by the two of you. It will help you receive the inheritance, the male saint's remnant consciousness said sternly. Junior Na Yue thanks Senior for bestowing the pill. Na Yue bowed again, then carefully accepted the pill. Seeing the pill brimming with yin energy, Na Yue swallowed it without hesitation. As Na Yue swallowed the pill, Ao Yuan stood quietly to the side without moving. He watched as Na Yue swallowed the yin pill from the extreme yin-yang pill without hesitation, and couldn't help but feel a surge of joy. This woman is still just as reckless as before. Young man, why are you unconvinced? The remnant consciousness of the female saint looked at Ao Yuan with some surprise, a hint of doubt flashing in her eyes. Ao Yuan raised his head, looking directly into the eyes of the remnant consciousness of the female saint, and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly. Senior, this pill is the yang pill among the yin-yang pills of extreme yin. Don't you think it's beneath your dignity to use this pill to deceive this junior? Seeing that Ao Yuan recognized the value, the male saint's remnant consciousness was startled. Young man, my inheritance is a pair with my wife, and it is never passed down to one person. Your companion has already taken the extreme yin pill. If he does not have intercourse with a cultivator who has taken the extreme yang pill, he will surely explode and die. The remnant consciousness of the male saint directly explained the truth to Ao Yuan, without any beating around the bush, saying, You decide what to do. Shen, fellow Taoist Shen. Na Yue looked at Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, with tender eyes. With a flick of her sleeve, the remnant consciousness of the female saint instantly formed an array, and the two were teleported to another array space. Chapter 177, Obtaining Two Inheritances. 9 days passed without incident. 10,000 words omitted here. Na Yue wearily opened her alluring eyes and looked at Shen Gongbao beside her, her feelings complicated. 9 days of intense sparring left her somewhat hesitant to face Shen Gongbao. Fairy Na, you're awake. Ao Yuan looked at Na Yue with a teasing smile. Na Yue responded in a barely audible voice. Before Na Yue could even gather her thoughts, Ao Yuan continued. Miss Nai, I saved your life, and you must repay this life-saving grace. Na Yue. Hearing such shameless words, Na Yue was completely stunned. Beforehand, he called her Fairy Nai. Afterwards, he not only called her Miss Nai, but also demanded that she repay his life-saving grace. Is this guy even a man? She was the one who suffered a loss. How could he do this? Miss Nai, this matter was caused to implicate me due to your carelessness, wasting 9 precious days of my cultivation time. The total cost for the lost cultivation time, mental distress, labor training fees, and the care for your medication is 130,000 high-grade spirit crystals. As friends, I won't take advantage of you. How about this? After you receive the inheritance, you will share a copy of the Extreme Yin Array Dao with me. Ao Yuan held Na Yue's hands down, his eerie eyes fixed intently on hers. Na Yue's heart was in turmoil and a blush crept onto her pretty face. She turned her head away and said, I understand. Damn it, what a despicable bastard. Na Yue cursed inwardly. She was truly angry, having never encountered such a shameless person before. Having lost her virginity and not even received her yang essence, Na Yue was now being asked to pay compensation for emotional distress. This was the first time Na Yue had ever been so speechless. Since Miss Nai has no objections, let's go out. Ao Yuan looked at Na Yue with a smile. I need to change my clothes, turn around. Ao Yuan remained unmoved, saying, Everyone knows each other well, so there's no need to be wary of a gentleman. Na Yue's eyes widened. You. Na Yue got angry in a fit of rage. They're out. The remnant consciousness of the female saint smiled, her gaze sweeping back and forth between the two, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Na Yue stared coldly at the two disrespectful old men in front of her, her heart filled with dissatisfaction and anger. If it weren't for those two disrespectful old folks, how could she be in such a passive position now? Can you give me the inheritance now? Na Yue's tone was icy, and her eyes revealed a hint of impatience. The male saint's remnant consciousness hurriedly explained, Little girl, don't be angry. Only when we are intimately connected and have a shared understanding can our inheritance truly unleash its greatest power. Na Yue looked at the two old men in front of her with suspicion, half believing their words. After all, these two people had kept the conditions for the inheritance from her, putting her in a difficult situation. I shouldn't have told her these things in the first place. What's the point of telling her now? Does this really heal my wounded little heart? The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. If she had known from the beginning that the inheritance required meeting such conditions, she would never have chosen to accept this inheritance. Little one, do you want to inherit the legacy or not? The female remnant suddenly spoke, interrupting Na Yue's thoughts. Yes, of course I want it, Na Yue said through gritted teeth. Now that we've done everything we could, wouldn't it be a waste not to take the inheritance? Moreover, she still owes Shen Gongbao 130,000 high-grade chaos spirit crystals. If she doesn't want the inheritance, where is she going to get 130,000 high-grade chaos spirit crystals for Shen Gongbao? If her grandfather found out that she not only lost her virginity, but also had to compensate the other party, she would be scolded to death. The remnant consciousness of the female saint gave an awkward smile, and her remnant consciousness transformed into specks of starlight. A ball of cyan light flew into Na Yue's brow. Young lady, I am the supreme master of Yin. Having received my teachings, you must never indiscriminately kill the innocent. Remember, remember. As the remnant consciousness of the female saint dissipated, the remnant consciousness of the male saint beside her side, and then also dissolved into a ball of red light. Youngster, my name is the Extreme Yang Sword Saint. You have mastered my techniques. Well, do whatever you want, no need to be restrained. The male saint's remnant consciousness left behind a meaningless remark, and all traces vanished completely from the world. Na Yue and Ao Yuan stared at everything expressionlessly, without any regret or other emotions. Na Yue lost all respect for these two unreliable seniors because she had been tricked. Ao Yuan simply looked down on them and didn't think much of their legacy. The Supreme Yin Saint Master and the Supreme Yang Sword Saint, two extremely famous top saints from the eastern wilderness more than 60 million years ago, perished in the Sky City incident 60 million years ago. Now that the lineage has been passed down, the Extreme Yin and Extreme Yang can finally rest in peace. After a long while, Na Yue angrily handed over the written-down Extreme Yin Array Dao inheritance to Shen Gongbao. Ao Yuan. Here, your stuff. Ao Yuan took the inheritance jade slip and put it away. Completed in one go. Seeing Ao Yuan's self-righteous attitude, Na Yue became even angrier. Despite their close relationship as officials, he didn't even want to talk to him. So annoying. Meanwhile, Qin Shu and his companions, after wandering around for a while and nearly starving to death, returned to Sunset Grassland. What kind of secret realm is this? I'm starving, Wang Fuguier said, eating grass with a pained expression. The group had wiped out all the soft-boned rabbits in the Sunset Grassland. There were other monsters, but very few. The group, who were starving, had no choice but to eat grass to stave off hunger. Stop complaining, that forest is too strange. For it to make people feel hungry again inside is just awful. The fortune teller's face was full of exasperation. So should we continue in? Dan Daozi asked, pointing to the gray forest ahead. Go, of course we'll go. This ruin is so huge I don't want to get stuck in the ghost forest, Qin Shu said angrily. That's true. If we can't get through here, we can try other routes, Long Yashin agreed. Then I'll stay here. If Sister Nai, Brother Shen, and Saintess Yi come out, I'll explain the situation to them, Gyur suggested. That's good, so they won't be unable to find us when they come out. Qin Shu nodded. Whether these three passed through this ghostly forest or happened to be out resting, and perfectly avoided them. Leaving one person behind meant they would meet again sooner or later. I think we should split into two groups, one going left and the other right, exploring freely and relying on our own abilities to seize opportunities. What do you think? Long Yashin said in a deep voice. After Long Yashin said this, everyone fell silent. After a long silence, Qin Shu finally spoke up. Let's do as fellow Taoist Long says. After a month of fruitless efforts, dissenting voices began to emerge within the team. Qin Shu's cultivation was no longer the strongest, and he was no longer able to control the overall situation. Then I'll team up with Brother Qin. Dan Dayazi immediately chose Qin Shu. The fortune teller and one-eared looked at each other and said in unison, Let's team up with fellow Taoist Qin. Welcome, a hint of joy appeared on Qin Shu's face. Long Yashin and Wang Fuguir, one a spear cultivator and the other a body cultivator, were the strongest fighters in the team. Bu Shensuan and Yizhir chose Qin Shu's side, probably because they were worried about encountering an opportunity that would allow Long Yashin and Wang Fuguir to turn the tables. Qin Shu was quite wary of Long Yashin, and as the leader of this expedition to the ruins, he naturally wouldn't refuse the two, Bu Shensuan and his companion, whose strength was similar to his own. All right, it's settled then. I'll explore to the left with Dan Dayazi, fellow Taoist Bu Shensuan and fellow Taoist Yizhir. Farik will stay here. As for the right side, I'll leave it to fellow Taoist Long and fellow Taoist Wang. Qin Shu followed the assigned tasks. Brother Qin, take care. Wang Fuguir clasped his hands in a fist salute to Qin Shu. Take care, Qin Shu returned the greeting. After reaching an agreement, the two teams parted ways, one on the left and one on the right, leaving Gyur alone to stay behind. Meanwhile, guided by his uneasy intuition, Yiziu kept changing directions and finally emerged from the gray mist forest, arriving at a quiet giant stone valley. I'm finally out. Yiziu was overjoyed. P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals. Chapter 178, My Bunny. Another month has passed. Brother Shen. Gyur's voice suddenly rang out, her tone filled with surprise and excitement. Her gaze was fixed on what was ahead, her eyes shining brightly. After a whole month of boredom, she finally saw one of the three who had not returned. It's not just me. Ao Yuan smiled gently. As soon as he finished speaking, Na Yue, who was behind Ao Yuan, also came out, but her expression was somewhat unnatural. Sister Na Yue, I never expected you to run into Brother Shen, Gyur exclaimed in surprise. The difficulty of the maze is still fresh in my mind. It was already difficult enough to come back alive. I never expected that Brother Shen Gongbao and Sister Na Yue would meet in the maze. What good luck. By the way, Brother Shen, did you manage to get through this maze? Gyur asked eagerly. Brother Shen possesses the entire soft-boned rabbit race of the Sunset Grassland, so he will certainly not lack food. Sister Na Yue is a descendant of the heavenly array lineage. When the two of them come together, they will definitely be the strongest combination in the team in terms of array formations. These two, working together, are undoubtedly the most likely among them to get through this obstacle. Gyur stared intently at Shen Gongbao, her eyes filled with anticipation and hope. If even Shen Gongbao and Na Yue couldn't get through this maze, then it would be difficult for others to do so as well. At this moment, she was extremely nervous, like a heart hanging in mid-air, waiting for Shen Gongbao to give her an answer. Ao Yuan nodded and calmly explained, That's right, we've passed. It passed. Upon hearing this, Gyur's previously dim eyes instantly brightened, brimming with joyful excitement. Sister Na Yue passed by, so she must be out here to guide them. At this moment, Na Yue also composed herself and asked, By the way, where is everyone else? Why are you the only one here? Upon hearing Na Yue's words, Gyur finally realized what was going on and quickly explained. It's like this. A month ago, we were forced to come out of the maze to find food because of hunger. But at the time, everyone had different opinions, so we decided to split into 3 groups to continue exploring the maze. Qin Shu, Dan Dayazi, Bu Shensuan, and Yizhir chose to explore the maze to the left. Long Yashin and Wang Fugui explored to the right in another direction. I stayed here to wait for news. However, the Night Saintess has not yet appeared. Her tone was filled with worry as she said this. Since Na Yue and Yi Duxiu were not present, Gyur did not dare to team up with the others alone, so she volunteered to stay behind and wait for everyone to enter. Na Yue nodded. I see, let's go then. After saying that, Na Yue walked towards Gyur. Where are you going? Gyur asked, looking at Na Yue, who was walking towards her with a puzzled expression. Na Yue smiled slightly and explained to Gyur, we have already obtained the inheritance, so this relic is of no use to us anymore. Of course, we should leave. You've obtained the inheritance? Gyur's eyes widened in shock. Yes, we were lucky. We found the place of inheritance and obtained it smoothly, Na Yue said with a smile, a hint of pride flashing in her eyes. Well, congratulations. Gyur offered her heartfelt congratulations, but she still felt a little disappointed. If I hadn't been so stupid and unlucky, perhaps I would have been exploring alongside Sister Na Yue. Na Yue saw through Gyur's thoughts and comforted her. Gyur, don't be discouraged. There will definitely be other opportunities in the future. Okay, I understand. Gyur nodded, trying to cheer herself up. By the way, Sister Na Yue, you and Brother Shen. Gyur looked at the two of them with a gossipy expression. She had noticed Na Yue's unusual behavior early on. The two of them came out one after the other, and the ending. Upon hearing this, a blush instantly spread across Na Yue's perfect face. Something happened between him and me. An accident? Was it intentional or deliberate? Gyur immediately became excited. Various fictional storylines kept flashing through my mind. Traditional Chinese medicine, forced sex, reverse sex. All right, let's hurry up and get out of here. Ao Yuan stepped forward to change the subject. Okay, Na Yue quickly followed Ao Yuan's footsteps, walking back one after the other. Gyur shook her head helplessly and quickly followed. Compared to Qin Shu and his group, she was with Na Yue. Since Na Yue chose to leave, there was no point in her staying. As for Yi Duxiu, he is an outsider cultivator, and I am not familiar with him. Looking at her best friend who had gained a touch of charm, Gyur was very curious about how the two met. If you have the chance, you must interrogate them thoroughly. Damn it, there's nothing here in this broken stone valley. Yizu was speechless. Having finally escaped the perilous maze, I unexpectedly entered a godforsaken place, filled with nothing but rocks. She was so hungry that she ate most of the grass skirt she was wearing. Fortunately, Ghost Stone Valley does not cause severe hunger, allowing one to fast just like in the outside world. Otherwise, she would have truly become the first emperor in history to starve to death, dying in such a desolate, godforsaken place. Yizu looked around at the endless valley and continued his journey. Brother Qin, when will this ever end? It's been a month already and this ghost forest is still not over, Dan Dayazi complained absent-mindedly. Qin Shu frowned slightly. To be honest, he was also getting annoyed after a month of progress. The grasslands were like this back then, and this broken forest is like this now. Why make such a big ruined space? He really left me speechless. But for the sake of this opportunity, they had no choice but to persevere. Brother Dan, this place is so vast, the treasures must be extraordinary. Let's persevere a little longer, maybe we'll reach the end of this ghost forest in a few more days. Qin Shu hurriedly encouraged everyone, but his tone clearly carried a hint of uncertainty and helplessness. A few days later and still no flight. This opportunity is better left undone. The fortune teller decisively stopped, utterly exhausted by this endless march. He knew that continuing like this would only waste his energy and time, and in the end he might gain nothing. Seeing that the fortune teller had stopped, One Ear also stopped, his eyes revealing a hint of hesitation and retreat. He looked at Qin Shu and said dejectedly, Fellow Taoist Qin, you guys do your best. I don't want this opportunity anymore. Clearly, the fortune teller and One Ear had already discussed it and decided to give up the opportunity. Fellow Taoist Bu, fellow Taoist One Ear, are you really going to give up? Qin Shu looked at One Ear and the divine calculator with a complicated expression. The fortune teller shook his head and said bluntly, I've been in this ruin for more than 2 months, and apart from the soft bone rabbit, I haven't seen any other treasures. Rather than continuing like this, it's better to cut our losses and leave this place with the soft bone rabbit. Seeing that the fortune teller was about to give up, Qin Shu nodded and did not try to stop him. The four then separated. Qin Shu and Dan Dayazi continued onward, while Bu Shensuan and Yizhir returned the way they came. So this grassland is also a grand formation, Na Yue exclaimed in surprise. A grand formation? Gyur looked bewildered. This place was already teeming with life, and was even originally inhabited by the soft bone rabbit tribe. Now, Sister Na Yue was telling her that this was also an array, which truly shocked her understanding. That's right, this grassland is indeed a spatial array, stretching the grassland space to an unimaginably vast extent, Ao Yuan added. So that means there's no end to this grassland no matter what, Q suddenly realized. Na Yue nodded. In a sense, that's true. That's not like fellow Taoist Qin, and the others were doing useless work. Ao Yuan and Na Yue nodded in tacit agreement. There's no point in saying anything more, let's leave, Na Yue suggested. What about fellow Taoist Qin and the others? Guer asked in return. They will eventually discover the problem when they reach the end. I have left a clue at the entrance to the Gray Mist Forest. Once they see the clue, they will be able to return here. Immediately afterwards, Na Yue, who was standing to the side, also set up several chess formations, leaving behind the method of leaving. All right, Yor, let's go outside and look for other opportunities, Na Yue urged softly. Seeing Na Yue's actions, Guer did not refuse again. A flash of golden light, and the three disappeared across the grassland. When Guer opened her eyes again, Shen Gongba was nowhere to be seen, and her rabbit was gone too. Na Yue silently gazed into the distance. She had no idea where Shen Gongbao had gone. My bunny, Guer lowered her head in disappointment. Shen Gongbao's departure, without saying goodbye, clearly hurt Guer's young heart. Na Yue looked into the distance with a complicated expression, feeling a strange sadness in her heart. Chapter 179, Murder and Arson. Night's solo show. After leaving the Lost Ruins, Ao Yuan skillfully put on a bull head mask. The loan has been outstanding for over a decade, and the interest accumulated over the years amounts to more than 60 million villain points. Although Ao Yuan also went out to hunt for villain points during this period, the amount of villain points owed is still a huge sum. Now that they've taken away one of Yi Ziu's great opportunities, it's time to make up for their villainous value. Void City, here I come, He Tilda. No, don't kill me. Click. With a swift stroke. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully slaying the level 3 prodigy, the false one. You have gained 2,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully slaying the ordinary prodigy Su Quang. You have gained 250 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully slaying a level 1 prodigy reader. You have gained 100,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing a level 1 prodigy fan. You have gained 100,000 villain points. Congratulations, host, on successfully slaying the first-level prodigy Henan. You have gained 200,000 villain points. The emotionless, automated system voice kept playing. Yi Duxiu, even if I become a vengeful ghost, I will never let you demon, go. Yi Duxiu, you have slaughtered countless cultivators. You will surely face retribution. Yi Duxiu, you're a heartless butcher. Your end will be even more miserable than ours, ha 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 ha. Ao Yuan ignored all of this without any emotion. Before long, the cultivators heard about Yi Duxiu's bad reputation. What kind of night showman kills anyone he sees? What do you mean by night show? He's got a screw loose. What Yi Duxiu was possessed by a void creature. What Yi Duxiu likes corpses. Countless rumors about Yi Duxiu quietly dissipated, becoming a topic of fear for countless cultivators in the void realm. What kind of bullshit night soloist is this, calling himself a human butcher? In my opinion, this guy is just a cowardly rat who only dares to bully the weak, a bald tiger demon shouted in a booming voice. The tiger demon's voice echoed in the void, as if it would shatter the entire world. Shen Shengzi is right. Those human cultivators are a bunch of cowards. Amir Yi Duxiu scared them so badly they ran away with their tails between their legs. They are a bunch of useless trash. Another tiger demon chimed in. HMPH, that Yi Duxiu is just relying on his strength to pick on the weak. If I were to meet him, I'd make sure he never leaves alive. A gorgeously dressed demon woman sneered. Ha ha ha, as expected of the night demon young master, truly extraordinary courage. The surrounding demon beasts fawned over him. Oh, is that so? With a deep voice, Ao Yuan's figure appeared before the demons like a ghost. Human brat, how dare you provoke me, Yao Beishan? Today is your death day, Yao Beishan said with a face full of disdain. Heavenly Emperor Fist. Ao Yuan let out a roar, then slowly threw a punch. This punch may seem ordinary, but it contains boundless power and pressure, as if the entire world trembles at it. The power of his fists shook the world. The next second, Yao Beishan was instantly hit by this punch, his body flying backward like a cannonball, crashing heavily into the distant mountain wall. Yao was completely embedded in the mountain wall, his life hanging in the balance. Ao Yuan slowly withdrew his fist, looking coldly at the other demons. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully slaying the second-level prodigy, Yao Beishan. You have gained 3,000 villain points. The system notification sounded at the right time, and Ao Yuan's lips curled up slightly, revealing a smug smile. As his words fell, everyone around him was stunned. They never expected that Yi Duxiu would be so powerful, killing a second-level genius so easily and in such a domineering way. "You brat, you dare kill my men, die." Boom, boom, boom. In just a few breaths, all the demons perished together. Ding, host has successfully killed the level 1 prodigy Xing Jun, gaining 150,000 villain points. Ding, the host has successfully killed Wang Lin, a second-level prodigy, and gained 5,000 villain points. Ding, the host has successfully killed a world-level prodigy, gaining 300,000 villain points. As system announcements echoed, yet another demon stronghold vanished. "Only 20 million has been repaid. Looks like I need to hurry," Ao Yuan muttered to himself. Immediately afterwards, Ao Yuan embarked on a path of slaying the prodigies of various races. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the lowly prodigy Huang Sangui. You have gained 2.5 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the level 3 prodigy White Cat. You have gained 1,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the level 1 prodigy Ren Rumeng. You have gained 1,500,000 villain points. In an instant, the entire Void Realm was plunged into endless panic, especially those with weaker cultivation levels, who were terrified by Yi Duxiu and decided to abandon their trip to the Void Realm. Even those holy sons and daughters from other regions couldn't help but gasp when they heard the name, Human Butcher Yi Duxiu. Yi Duxiu was a ruthless killer. Whether ordinary cultivators or successors of great sects, they were all his targets. Most importantly, Yi Duxiu's whereabouts were completely unpredictable and without any discernible pattern. He would immediately begin killing anyone he encountered, and after killing people, Yi Duxiu even left behind a self-portrait. Such behavior was extremely arrogant. "What are your thoughts on this matter?" the Prince of the Snow God Temple asked, his face grim as he looked at the crowd. "This Yi Duxiu is far too rampant, acting recklessly and utterly depraved. We, as righteous humans, should eliminate him," one of the semi-saint prodigies shouted indignantly. "Yi Duxiu has instigated this bloodshed, indiscriminately harming cultivators without regard for right or wrong. We cultivators must uphold justice and restore fairness to the cultivation world," He Minglin, the holy maiden of Chuanshan Tower, said firmly. "As leaders of the righteous path and members of a prestigious sect, we have a responsibility to eradicate evil from the cultivation world and restore a bright and clear world for all living beings." Lei Yu, the holy son, echoed indignantly. "This imperial prince agrees to exterminate the evil cultivator Yi Duxiu. This holy maiden agrees as well. Count me in. My White Tiger clan is also willing to join. My Vermilion Bird clan is also willing to contribute to all living beings under heaven." While Yi Xiu was still struggling with the lost ruins, the alliance to protest Yi Xiu was quietly established outside the city. Although these prodigies are not among the absolute elite, they are still the backbone of the younger generation in various factions. To deal with Human Butcher, Blood Calamity, Evil Lord, Yi Duxiu, these prodigies have formed a rare alliance for the first time. Ding, host has successfully killed the level 1 prodigy, Guogyua, and gained 110,000 villain points. Ding, the host has successfully killed a true fan of a world-class prodigy, gaining 6 million villain points. Ding, the host has successfully killed Wu Liwu, a first-level prodigy, and gained 200,000 villain points. As the system announcement sounded, Ao Yuan's massive debt rapidly approached zero. "P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals. Chapter 180 Fellow Taoists, please wait. Damn it, is Yi Duxiu a reincarnation of a mudfish? He's so slippery." A man with fiery red hair couldn't help but complain loudly. His face was full of impatience and annoyance, clearly showing his dissatisfaction with Yi Duxiu's whereabouts. "Yes, it's been 7 whole days, and we haven't seen a single person." Another person chimed in, their tone filled with helplessness and confusion. "HMPH, I bet she used some special method to evade our pursuit. Otherwise, with our strength and experience, how could we not find her trail?" the third man said angrily, a hint of rage flashing in his eyes. "All right, stop complaining. Let's search for 2 more days. If we still can't find them, we'll go back to hunting void creatures." The team leader frowned and said in a deep voice, looking annoyed. The team leader knew that everyone had done their best, and there was nothing they could do if they couldn't find it. "I did my best." Everyone nodded in agreement with the captain's decision. Their team came from a sect that specialized in fire magic, and their strength was considered among the best in their realm. Upon receiving the call from the Holy Son of the main sect, they all joined the massive operation to search for Yi Duxiu without hesitation. Since accepting this mission, they have been searching for 7 days straight, but have not found any clues about Yi Duxiu, not even a single hair of his. That night, Du Xiu was quite capable, managing to evade our search with so many people around. One team member sighed. That guy has probably already escaped to somewhere else. How could he possibly still be here waiting for us to find him? Another team member said, expressing his opinion. All right, enough of this nonsense. Let's keep looking ahead. Maybe we'll find some clues. The captain impatiently interrupted their conversation and led the group forward. Everyone remained silent along the way, each lost in their own thoughts. They all understood that the operation was likely to end in failure, but they were unwilling to return empty-handed. After all, this is a rare opportunity. If they can successfully capture Yi Duxiu, they will not only receive a reward from the sect, but also gain prestige among their fellow disciples. As time went on, their hopes dwindled, and their mood grew increasingly heavy. In the end, 2 days passed, and they still hadn't found Yi Duxiu's whereabouts. Left with no other choice, they had to follow their captain's instructions and continue to the area where they hunted the void creatures. I tried my best. No way. On the other side, after discovering that a large group of people were chasing Yi Duxiu, Ao Yuan also changed back to another alias, Shen Gongbao. Infiltrate the pursuing team. Take advantage of the chaos, tilde. Not far away, a female cultivator in green robes in the group suddenly asked, "Do you know who this Yi Duxiu is? Why does he have such great strength?" Everyone shook their heads, indicating that they did not know. According to the intelligence gathered by various sects, Yi Duxiu was a female evil cultivator who suddenly appeared out of nowhere, killing people everywhere. After killing, she liked to leave her name and arrogantly attach a self-portrait. Apart from that, there is no other relevant information. No cultivator knew where Yi Duxiu came from, why he possessed such cultivation, or why he killed everyone he saw. Have you heard? The Holy Son of the Heavenly God sect was killed by Yi Duxiu yesterday. Suddenly, a disciple broke the silence of the group. Upon hearing this, the rest of the team immediately erupted in chaos. What, even the celestial child has fallen? This Yi Duxiu is far too terrifying. Yes, it was a nightmare. Then someone added, not only that, besides the Heavenly God child, many other geniuses of the first realm, such as the Carefree Heavenly Sect's Carefree Child, the Holy Child of the Myriad Beasts' Holy Land, and the Copying Scholar of the Jade Pavilion, also died tragically at the hands of Yi Duxiu. Upon hearing this, the entire group fell into a deathly silence, and everyone's face showed fear. My God, so many world-class geniuses have fallen, someone exclaimed. Then aren't we just throwing our lives away by searching everywhere like this? One of them said in a trembling voice. Upon hearing this, the others couldn't help but show expressions of despair and fear. Even geniuses of the highest caliber couldn't escape their fate. So how could those who weren't even candidates for the Holy Sun protect themselves? Everyone fell silent. Among those present, not a single one was a half-saint. If they were to encounter Yi Duxiu, they would all be wiped out. Fellow Taoists, please wait. Suddenly, a voice that was neither clearly male nor female rang out in the ears of the many cultivators. Who is it? If you've got the guts, show yourself. What kind of skill is it to hide like this? You cowardly coward, dare to come out and challenge me. Upon hearing this eerie sound, everyone panicked and began to question it. The battle begins. The next second, a transparent barrier enveloped the space within a 10-mile radius, trapping all the cultivators who had entered and completely isolating them from the outside world. Sir, these are extraordinary times. Please refrain from making such unfunny jokes. A woman stepped forward and called out, Friend, I am the young sect master of the Feather God sect. If we have offended you, we will leave immediately. Please remove the formation. Fellow Taoist, my father is Zhang Er. Please give me some face for my father's sake. Zhang Er. Could he be the head of the Zhang family in southern Xinjiang? I heard that the Zhang family patriarch reached the quasi-emperor level a year ago, and the very next day he killed a quasi-emperor level demon emperor. The Zhang family is now at the height of its power. I've heard about that too. Me too. Listening to the surrounding chatter and compliments, Zhang San's face was full of pride, as if he was confident that he could lead everyone out of this predicament. Zhang Er is no match for me. After he finished speaking, a figure appeared in front of everyone. The person was wearing a black mask that completely covered their face, making it impossible to see their true appearance. The man was wearing a black robe, which fluttered in the wind as if he had blended into the darkness. Yi Duxiu? A cultivator who had just reached the Dao realm exclaimed in horror as he looked at the person who had suddenly appeared before him. His voice was filled with fear and surprise, as if he had seen something terrifying. The other cultivators were also shocked. They never expected that this mysterious cultivator would be the cultivator butcher, Yi Duxiu. Didn't you all want to see me? Now that I'm here, why are you all chickening out? Ao Yuan glanced at the crowd with disdain, a contemptuous smile playing on his lips. Yi Duxiu, don't be so arrogant. A Dao-slaying cultivator shouted, his legs trembling, his voice filled with fear and unease. He tried to mask his inner panic with a tough tone, but his body trembled slightly involuntarily. Yi Duxiu, even if you can kill the prodigies of all races, we are not afraid of you, a female cultivator said angrily. However, a hint of undisguised fear was revealed deep in her eyes. Don't be afraid, everyone. There are over 1,000 of us, and she's all alone. I refuse to believe she can kill us all, someone shouted, trying to boost morale. That's right, with so many of us escaping together, she might not be able to kill us all. Another person chimed in, his eyes darting around, clearly not very confident in his words. As long as the Holy Sons arrive, they'll surely be able to collect our bodies, someone shouted again. All the cultivators turned their divine senses toward the corpse collector, as if to say, look at what you're saying. Run! Suddenly, a quick-thinking cultivator shouted. The entire team instantly fell apart. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the level 2 prodigy Ghost Shadow. You have gained 2,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the level 1 prodigy Wang potion. You have gained 70,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing Liu Zior, a first-level prodigy. You have gained 80,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the ordinary cultivator AI Kun. You have gained 2.5 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the level 3 prodigy Du Ji. You have gained 2,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the first-level prodigy, the Crown Prince. You have gained 50,000 villain points. Chapter 181 Yi Ziu. She is an enemy of the whole world. Cough, cough. A violent coughing sound came, and a disheveled figure suddenly appeared in a secluded spot on the outskirts of the Void City. The man was covered in dust, his clothes were tattered, and his hair was disheveled, as if he had experienced some inhuman ordeal. Damn it, I didn't expect someone else to get to the ruins first. What a wasted trip, Yi Ziu thought to himself, feeling resentful. She finally made it through the boring stone valley and the lava ravine, only to find that the Yin-Yang Array Hall was completely empty. She's suffering so much. After finally passing all the tests, they didn't even get a piece of clothing. When they returned to Sunset Grassland, Qin Shu and his gang had all run away. And her rabbit too, they're a bunch of despicable ants. Not only did they offer no help whatsoever, they also stole hundreds of thousands of her soft bone rabbits. They have no sense of martial ethics. Shen Gongbao, you'd better not let me find you otherwise. A murderous intent flashed in Yi Ziu's eyes. The best course of action now is to first acquire some clothes and a storage ring, and then advance into the inner city. 3 months have yielded nothing. I can't fall behind any longer. I must collect the void crystals as soon as possible. Only in this way can I seize the heavenly heart mark at the beginning of the era and become an emperor once again. Thinking of these things, Yi Ziu's fighting spirit returned. 1 day later, Yi Duxiu, give me back my son's life. An old man roared in fury, his eyes filled with anger and hatred. Yi Duxiu, a month ago you took advantage of my vulnerability and defiled me, causing me to lose my virginity. Today I will tear you to pieces. A female cultivator gritted her teeth, her eyes flashing with anger and shame. Yi Duxiu, you have committed treason and ambushed my Shadow Sect disciples. Today, I, the Holy Sun, will surely slay you. Yi Duxiu, hand over our sect's most precious treasure. Otherwise, we will tear you to pieces. Kill that bastard. Yi Ziu clutched her chest, her face darkening. She couldn't understand why these people were so crazy. All she did was steal some of the female cultivators' clothes. Is it really necessary for so many people to come and hunt us down? What sect treasure? What revenge for killing one's son? What sneak attack? She couldn't understand a word. Damn it. Yi Duxiu, you have committed countless evils. Today, I, the king, will act on behalf of heaven to punish you. Secret technique, the crow takes flight. With a furious roar, the fierce Tiger King increased its speed dramatically, instantly flying above Yi Zhu. Not good, Yi Zhu's expression changed drastically. Boom! Smoke and dust filled the air. Ha ha ha, Lord Tiger King has succeeded. The fierce Tiger King is a member of the royal family of our black tiger lineage. A mere human woman is nothing more than a piece of cake for her. Nonsense! The fierce Tiger King is clearly a member of the royal family of the imperial tiger lineage. Don't push your luck, Black Tiger clan. Nonsense! The fierce Tiger King is clearly from our black tiger lineage. You're talking nonsense. Lord Fierce Tiger King has grown up in our imperial tiger lineage since he was a child. How could he possibly be a tiger from your black tiger lineage? The ability to fly like a crow is a divine power that only our black tiger lineage can comprehend. Your imperial tiger lineage is nothing but slander. The young prodigies of the heavenly winged holy demon tiger clan's royal tiger lineage and black tiger lineage started arguing again. Was it successful? It should be a success. The fierce Tiger King is a semi-saint level expert and a demon. Yi Duxiu was seriously injured. This time there should be no suspense. This Tiger King is truly formidable. He managed to corner Yi Duxiu. Of course, the fierce Tiger King is a semi-saint level expert and a powerful heavenly winged holy demon tiger. His strength is not to be underestimated. So does that mean Yi Duxiu is doomed? Yes, it's basically confirmed. Great, it's finally over. The crowd was abuzz with discussion, showing no sympathy whatsoever for Yi Duxiu's death. The smoke and dust cleared. The towering figure of the Tiger King emerged. It's Lord Tiger King. Lord Tiger King has won. I told you Lord Tiger King could kill that bitch. Now you see, from the moment Lord Tiger King was born, those human butchers, blood monsters, and evil lords all obediently died. A Tiger Clan prodigy proudly raised its head. Everyone says Yi Duxiu can kill a half-saint, but look at Lord Tiger King, who killed him in one move. This is the true half-saint powerhouse. That's right, all the talk about the human race's imperial son and holy son, no matter how awesome they were. In the end, they were all easily killed by an unknown nobody. They really disgraced the half-saint level. Lord Tiger King is truly formidable. With just one move, he displayed the might of a semi-saint. Yi Duxiu wasn't even left with a trace, which shows how powerful Lord Tiger King is. Unlike the humans, whose team was led by a demigod and ended up being wiped out without even being able to send out a distress signal, ha-ha-ha. Ha-ha-ha. The demons laughed wildly. Enough, Tiger King roared. Lord Tiger King, you don't need to give face to the human race. They are weak, and they deserve to suffer this. With a grim face, the Tiger King shouted in a deep voice, "That woman Yi Duxiu has run away." They escaped. The cultivators were shocked. That's right, that kid used a mysterious escape technique at the last moment and got away. Tiger King's expression was somewhat grim. As a demigod, it is a disgrace that I failed to retain Yi Duxiu. Ha-ha-ha, this is your demon race's Tiger King. Looks like nothing special. All that boasting. So much bragging, but he hasn't even encountered a human. How impressive. A scholar like human prodigy Yin Yang. What Tiger King? I think he's more like a paper Tiger King, ha-ha-ha. Ha-ha-ha-ha. The human prodigy also burst into unrestrained laughter. What you want to practice? The Tiger King's cold, ruthless gaze, like two sharp swords, slowly swept over the crowd. As the Tiger King's gaze swept across the area, the atmosphere seemed to freeze, becoming unusually quiet. No one dared to speak easily, for fear of becoming the target of this half-saint tiger cub. Just then, a clear voice broke the silence. Tiger King, what kind of skill is it to bully a little kid? If you have the guts, then spar with me, Scholar Yingluan. Everyone turned to look, and saw a human half-saint dressed in a blue robe, holding a folding fan, walking out with a smile. His appearance immediately eased the tense atmosphere considerably. Upon hearing this, a hint of disdain flashed in the Tiger King's eyes, but he still coldly replied, "Come. Enough, you two, what time is it now? You still have the mind to fight amongst yourselves. Instead of wasting time like this, why not go and cut off that Yi Duxiu's head as a warning to others?" roared a terrifying dragon like half-saint. HMPH, for the sake of the Dragon King, I won't stoop to your level. The Tiger King snorted coldly, then chose a direction and led his tiger away. The scholar bowed to the Dragon King, then turned and led his men in another direction. Cough, cough. Yi Zhu leaned against a rock, looking extremely disheveled. Who is framing me? I'd better not find out otherwise. Fellow Taoist Yi, a familiar voice rang out. P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals. Chapter 182. Fellow Taoist Yi, don't panic. I have a plan that can bring you a way out of this predicament. Shen Gongbao. Yi Ziu stared intently at Ao Yuan, his eyes burning with suppressed rage. Fellow Taoist Yi, what are you doing here? Ao Yuan feigned surprise as he looked at Yi Duxiu. Fellow Taoist Yi, let me tell you, there are wanted posters for you everywhere these past 2 days. You'd better be careful when you go out. Ao Yuan walked up to him familiarly. Seeing that Shen Gongbao didn't attack him like the others, Yi Ziu's expression relaxed slightly, but he remained vigilant. Shen Gongbao, what are you doing here? Yi Ziu asked warily, secretly wondering what Shen Gongbao's purpose was. Ao Yuan looked at Yi Ziu as if he were an idiot, a slight sneer playing on his lips. Of course I'm here to obtain void crystals, aren't you? Yi Ziu nodded, deciding to believe Shen Gongbao's story for the time being. Void crystals are a unique cultivation resource found only in the Eastern lands, Eastern wilderness. They possess special spatial power and have miraculous effects on tempering the physical body, attracting countless geniuses to flock to them. It's indeed plausible that Shen Gongbao came here in search of resources. By the way, fellow Taoist Yi, how did you get here? I remember there was no one here when we searched before. Ao Yuan looked at Yi Ziu with suspicion, as if trying to find some clues from his face. Yi Ziu's heart tightened, but he remained calm on the surface and replied, "Don't mention it. I just teleported out of the ruins and was inexplicably chased by a large group of cultivators. I had no choice but to activate a secret technique and ended up here where I met fellow Taoist Shen." Yi Ziu recounted the general course of events, half truthfully and half jokingly. However, she selectively omitted details such as her alteration of the teleportation array and her robbing of female cultivators' clothing. Ao Yuan deliberately feigned surprise, exclaiming in shock, "What? You ran into those people?" Yi Ziu shook his head with a wry smile and sighed. "Yeah, this is really bad luck. I just teleported out of the ruins and accidentally offended a female cultivator, which attracted a large group of humans and demons to chase me, including many powerful beings at the half-saint level. I have no idea what I did to offend them. They wouldn't listen to any explanation and immediately started attacking me with all sorts of precious treasures and magical techniques. I didn't want to harm them, so I had no choice but to dodge. Fellow Taoist Yi, at this point, don't you want to tell me the truth?" Ao Yuan deliberately feigned extreme displeasure. Upon hearing this, Yi Ziu felt a pang of panic. Could it be that Shen Gongbao also knows about me tearing off the clothes of the female cultivator from the Misty Immortal Palace? Or does Shen Gongbao already know that I modified the relic teleportation array? That shouldn't be the case. I was the last one to leave the ruins, so Shen Gongbao couldn't possibly know that I modified the teleportation array. As for the matter of stripping off clothes, there was nothing I could do about it. That despicable villain in the gray fog maze was elusive and impossible to find a trace of. Since the storage ring couldn't be found, this was the only option left. Fellow Taoist Shen, to be honest, I accidentally offended a female cultivator from a powerful sect yesterday, and she holds a grudge against me. Yi Ziu still chose to avoid the main issue in his answer. After all, Yi Ziu was still a little ashamed to talk about the matter of pulling down someone's bra and underwear. "Is that all?" Ao Yuan deliberately frowned, clearly not satisfied with this explanation. Ao Yuan deliberately stared at Yi Ziu with a sharp gaze, as if he really wanted to try to see something from the other's expression. Yi Ziu, however, maintained an innocent demeanor throughout, making him difficult to understand. Ao Yuan sighed, shook his head in disappointment, and said with a hint of helplessness, "Fellow Taoist Yi, I thought you were an upright and honest person, but I never expected that you would be just like those despicable and vulgar people." While speaking, Ao Yuan specifically emphasized the words despicable and vulgar. Upon hearing this, Yi Ziu's expression changed slightly, but he quickly regained his composure and asked, "Fellow Taoist Shen, what do you mean by that?" Ao Yuan snorted coldly, casually tossed a jade slip in front of Yi Ziu, and said impatiently, "Take a look for yourself." Yi Ziu took the jade slip that Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, threw to him with suspicion, his heart filled with doubt. He infused a wisp of his divine sense into it, and began to examine its contents. Upon seeing this, Yi Ziu's face instantly turned extremely gloomy, and several black lines even appeared on his forehead, as if they could drip water. "Slander, this is outright slander," Yi Ziu shouted angrily. "Fellow Taoist Shen, please believe me, I have never done such a bad thing." Yi Ziu clenched his fists tightly and said through gritted teeth, as if he had been greatly wronged. Ao Yuan nodded and said very seriously, "Fellow Taoist Yi, I believe in you. After all, you're only at the peak of the divine fire realm. No matter how talented you are, It's impossible for you to kill those successors of the longevity sect one after another. Yi Ziu, brother, actually, I do have that power. Being so disrespected by a junior, Yi Ziu was speechless with frustration. But she couldn't reveal a single word about the secret of her rebirth to anyone else. She could only choose to endure it. Seeing Yi Ziu remain silent, Ao Yuan spoke again. Fellow Taoist Yi, don't panic. I have a plan that can help you overcome your current predicament. Oh, you have a plan? Upon hearing this, Yi Ziu suddenly became very interested. Betrayed by her brother and lover, she never thought she could meet true friends. Unexpectedly, this person, whom I had known for less than half a month, would want to help me. True friendship is revealed in times of adversity. If Shen Gongbao is truly willing to pledge his loyalty to her, she will not hesitate to take him as a follower and lead him to conquer the Imperial Road. That's right, I have a plan that can help fellow Taoist Yi resolve his current predicament. Ao Yuan patted his chest and assured him. Brother Shen, please speak. Yi Ziu immediately became interested. She also wanted to hear what Shen Gongbao's opinion was on this matter. If his suggestions were useful, she would reluctantly accept his pledge of allegiance. Fellow Taoist Yi, we do this, then that, and finally this. Ao Yuan quickly told Yi Ziu a move called surrounding the corpse to attack the reinforcements. Are you sure you can do it? Yi Ziu asked Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, with a doubtful look on his face, arms crossed. During his self-introduction, Shen Gongbao mentioned that he had a good understanding of restrictions but was not good at killing, and hoped that everyone would help him in the ruins. Now this person actually wants to lead her to slaughter all the cultivators of all races, to kill them until all races are terrified. Fellow Taoist Yi, rest assured, I accidentally obtained the extreme Yang Array Dao inheritance in the ruins before. Setting up an array to kill is nothing special. Ao Yuan deliberately put on an arrogant posture. Yi Ziu shook her head. She understood now. Shen Gongbao was completely blinded by lust and had come to show off in front of her. This guy is incredibly audacious. He's trying to flirt with me. All right, let's do it that way. First, set up the heaven-slaying killing array, then release the information to wipe out that group in one fell swoop. A sharp glint flashed in Yi Ziu's eyes. Chapter 183, The Nine Heavens' Ultimate Killing Formation. Your Holiness, this is the man who claims to know Yi Duxiu's whereabouts. A human prodigy introduced Shen Gongbao to the Holy Son of Li Hu. The Holy Son of Li Hu raised an eyebrow slightly, looking the stranger, a hint of doubt flashing in his eyes. Oh, you really know where Yi Duxiu is hiding? His voice carried a touch of authority, as if it could penetrate one's heart. Shen Gongbao smiled slightly, a confident expression on his face, and cupped his hands, saying, Reporting to the Holy Son, I do indeed know the whereabouts of Yi Duxiu. His tone was calm, showing no fear of the Fire God sect's power. The Holy Son of Li Hu stared at Shen Gongbao with a sharp glint in his eyes, as if trying to find some flaws in his expression and demeanor. However, Shen Gongbao remained calm and composed, and the Holy Son of Li Hu did not see anything useful. Lead the way. In the end, the Holy Son of Li Hu chose to believe this unfamiliar cultivator named Shen Gongbao. The Holy Son of Li Hu was not worried about being deceived, because he was not only going to the Fire God sect, but to the entire alliance of prodigies of myriad races. If Shen Gongbao dares to lie, he'd better have the ability to escape like Yi Duxiu. Soon, Ao Yuan led tens of thousands of geniuses from the alliance of 10,000 races to move in full force, surrounding the absolute heaven-killing formation with overwhelming momentum. Fellow Taoist Shen, are you really sure that Yi Duxiu is hiding in that valley ahead? Saintess Liuhen stared coldly at Shen Gongbao, her tone revealing a hint of doubt. Shen Gongbao nodded hurriedly and said, Your Highness, a few days ago, I witnessed that demoness escape into this valley, and she has not appeared since. After confirming that everything was correct, I immediately reported the matter to the Holy Son of Li Hu. His expression was very certain, as if he was full of confidence in his discovery. Saintess Liuhen frowned slightly, and after thinking for a moment, suggested, Everyone, since that's the case, let's cordon off this area first. The other saintesses and saints exchanged glances and agreed with Saintess Liuhen's suggestion. As the orders were given by the semi-saint-level prodigies, tens of thousands of prodigies quickly dispersed, forming an encirclement that firmly surrounded the entire valley. They looked solemn, holding various magical artifacts in their hands, ready to deal with any possible situation. Lord Tiger King, this place is treacherous, and that demoness must be hiding there. Why don't you let us go ahead and lead the charge? A young Tiger Clan prodigy asked in confusion. His eyes were bright and his posture was upright, clearly showing his confidence in his abilities. This place is extremely dangerous. I sense a natural aura of killing intent. If we rashly enter, we may encounter an ambush, the Tiger King explained solemnly. As the king of his clan, the Tiger King naturally possessed keen insight and judgment. Ha ha ha, an ambush. With so many of us, are we afraid of a mere little woman? Another Xiong clan prodigy laughed, his tone filled with disdain and arrogance. He was tall and muscular, holding a huge battle axe, looking very imposing. The other Xiong clan prodigies echoed this sentiment, indicating that they were not afraid of any ambush or danger. Bears, let's charge in, Xiong Chumo roared. Good, good. Hundreds of Bear clan prodigies responded with a cheer. Watching the mindless, charging, earth-splitting bear, the Tiger King shook his head, a hint of worry flashing in his eyes. Tiger cubs, we must not underestimate her. That demoness is cunning and ruthless, and the terrain here is complex. We must proceed with caution. After saying this, the Tiger King turned around and gave the order to the demons behind him. Everyone, listen to my command, form a battle formation and advance. At the Tiger King's command, many Tiger clan prodigies quickly sprang into action, forming the Heavenly Tiger battle formation and cautiously advancing forward. They walked steadily, vigilantly watching their surroundings, ready to deal with any potential dangers. On the side of the feathered Divine Dynasty, Your Highness, those barbarians have made their move, should we? The Ascension Saint shook his head. No rush, let those brutes test the demoness's strength first. Your Majesty is brilliant. On the side of the Great Sun Emperor sect, you guys sneak over quietly, no spiritual energy involved. Understand? The young sect master of the Great Sun Emperor sect commanded sternly. Hey, set off. For the Great Sun Emperor sect, hundreds of Great Sun Emperor sect disciples shouted this slogan as they took action. Baka, don't you dare say a word. You'll die if you do. Slap, one of the undercover agents slapped him across the face. That mere Dao-slaying idiot talks too much. Smack. The young sect leader of the Great Sun Emperor sect received another slap on the face. I'm not putting up with your little life anymore, Tui. Smack. 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 Dozens of slaps rang out as nearly 80% of the Great Sun Imperial clan's spies couldn't resist taking action, exposing their infiltration. The young sect leader of the Great Sun Imperial clan was transformed into a giant pig's head. On a distant mountain peak, a woman dressed in a black, shimmering dress stood quietly atop a boulder, coldly watching the approaching multitude of cultivators. Her eyes were icy cold, and a faint, crooked smirk played on her lips, as if she had already seen through the other person's thoughts. This woman was none other than the demoness that the fierce Tiger King had mentioned, Yiduxiu Yiziu. Chase me down, you're not worthy. Yiziu's lips curled into a disdainful sneer, his eyes flashing with contempt and mockery. The next moment, Yiziu activated the Nine Heavens Annihilation Return Formation without hesitation. As Yiziu moved, the surrounding space seemed to be distorted by a mysterious and powerful force, and the formation was instantly activated amidst the flashes of light. The world suddenly changed color, with howling winds, lightning, and thunder. Brilliant rays of light converged from all directions, weaving together to form a giant net of light that enveloped the entire area. This net of light contained boundless killing intent and destructive power, sending chills down one's spine. The entire area of Tian Sha Ju Chi Valley was instantly covered by slaughter, and the cultivators of all races who came to capture them were instantly reversed in status, becoming lambs to the slaughter. Not good. Retreat quickly. This is a saint-level killing formation. Retreat quickly. Not good. Defend now. Damn it, we've fallen for their trap. Several panic sounds rang out. Ha 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 ha. A chilling, sinister laugh suddenly rang out, as if from the depths of hell, carrying endless coldness and evil. The laughter sent chills down one's spine and instilled fear. What kind of skill is this, pretending to be a god or a ghost? If you have the guts, come out and fight this holy maiden. A woman stepped forward, her figure heroic and her eyes resolute, shouting fearlessly at the darkness. She gripped a sharp longsword tightly in her hand, emanating a fierce sword aura, like a shining star illuminating the surrounding darkness. Oh, you're challenging me? A cold voice echoed in the air, seemingly coming from all directions at the same time. The voice was full of sarcasm and disdain, which made people feel an inexplicable anger. Yiziu's figure gradually emerged. She stood in the shadows, exuding an eerie killing intent. P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals. Chapter 184 Shen Gongbao, you. Where did Shen Gongbao go? The holy son of Li Hu's face was frighteningly grim, his expression filled with rage, veins bulging on his forehead, and his eyes wide open, as if he wanted to devour someone. Reporting to the Holy Sun, it seems Shen Gongbao has gone to the Holy Maiden of Chuanshan Tower, a disciple said cautiously, beads of sweat appearing on his forehead. Then hurry up and go find them. The Holy Son of Li Hu slammed his hand on the table, stood up and shouted. The voice of the Holy Son of Li Hu exploded in the air like thunder, causing everyone around to tremble. Yes, the disciple replied hastily, turning around to prepare to go out and search for Shen Gongbao's whereabouts. The other disciples stood there trembling, even their breathing became cautious, for fear of accidentally provoking the Holy Son who was in a fit of anger. Time passed second by second, and the Holy Son of Li Hu's expression grew increasingly grim, his anger growing ever stronger. Finally, a disciple ran nervously to the Holy Son of Li Hu and stammered, "Holy Son, that kid, he's gone." After speaking, the disciple lowered his head, not daring to look at the Holy Son of Li Hu, his body trembling slightly, clearly very frightened. Upon hearing this, the Holy Son of Li Hu was furious. He glared at the disciple and said through gritted teeth, "Useless. You can't even keep an eye on one person. Keep searching. Even if you have to turn this entire mountain upside down, find him." Yes, the disciples of the Fire God sect responded in unison. Hurry up and go. The more the Holy Son of Li Hu thought about it, the angrier he became. His face turned extremely gloomy, and a ruthless glint flashed in his eyes. The Holy Son of Li Hu was so angry at being tricked by an unknown nobody that his face turned green. Upon hearing the roar of the Holy Son of Li Hu, the disciples of the Fire God sect dared not be negligent in the slightest and quickly sprang into action. I didn't expect young Master Shen to be so proficient in the art of formations. With young Master Shen here, we will definitely be able to successfully eliminate that villain. He Minglin smiled, covering her teeth. Her smile was like a gentle spring breeze, warm and soft. It was also like a blooming flower, delicate and beautiful, making people unable to resist being captivated by it. With every frown and smile, it seemed as if the whole world dimmed a little. "Brother Shen, make your move," Yiziu transmitted his voice. Sai Aoyuan sighed helplessly. "Why does young Master Shen sigh?" He Minglin looked at Shen Gongbao Aoyuan, who was shaking his head and sighing with puzzled eyes. Aoyuan shook his head and said, "Fairy we hit it off immediately, but you're leaving soon. My friend asked me to see you off." He Minglin was filled with doubt. They were having a pleasant conversation, so why did young Master Shen utter such inexplicable words? "She's not so bad, is she?" Before He Minglin could even ask a question, a gentle breeze swept by, and He Minglin instantly turned into ashes, her body and soul vanished forever. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing He Minglin, a top-tier prodigy. You have gained 60 million villain points. Golden Legend. Aoyuan was overjoyed. As expected of a descendant of the Xuanxianlu, a dominant force in the Central Plains, their quality is indeed high, giving away 60 million right off the bat. It was no wonder he used the Dragon Clan's top-tier causal law supernatural power, sending wind to friends. At the same time, a soul tablet in the Xuantian Tower in the most central part of the eastern wilderness, heavenly domain, shattered instantly. "The Saintess has fallen." These 4 words, like a bolt from the blue, instantly spread throughout the entire Xuantian Tower. Who did this? A furious roar resounded through the heavens and earth, the voice filled with boundless killing intent. "Who is it? I will annihilate him," another roar echoed. "Dare to assassinate my sex holy maiden. The longevity battle is our Xuantian Tower's challenge. Send troops to the southern border. Crush Tianshu." Terrifying auras awakened from the depths of the Xuantian Tower. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the level 3 prodigy Gu Fugui. You have gained 3,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the level 2 prodigy Wu Xiangwang. You have gained 50,000 villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the level 1 prodigy Liu Ruyan. You have gained 880,000 villain points. A series of automatic announcements set up by Chen Zhou rang out, and Aoyuan's villain value, which had been stagnant for many days, began to approach 0 again. Hehe tilde, Aoyuan laughed in a very convincing manner. "Shen Gongbao, you bastard. Shen Gongbao, I'll kill you. Shen Gongbao, you will die a horrible death." The prodigies, realizing what had happened, were filled with rage and hatred, their eyes bloodshot. Now they know perfectly well that they've been tricked by Shen Gongbao. "Kill, kill, 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 kill. Countless prodigies roared and unleashed their strongest divine abilities, wanting to tear Ao Yuan to pieces. The azure ice flame reappeared, and countless geniuses were frozen into ice blocks before they could even scream. Then they instantly disintegrated, their bodies and souls returning to their homeland. For a moment the world was deathly silent, with only Ao Yuan's arrogant laughter echoing in the air. On the other side, Yi Xiu also successfully killed the provocative woman, and a smug smile finally appeared on her face. Yi Xiu held a long sword, his long hair flowing, looking like the master of the battlefield. Ha ha ha, awesome! Yi Xiu couldn't help but laugh wildly, feeling an unprecedented sense of pleasure and power. At this moment, Yi Xiu was completely immersed in the battle, releasing all the frustration he had felt since his rebirth. Seeing this scene, countless geniuses couldn't help but feel fear. In their eyes, Yi Duxiu was like a demon from hell, cold-blooded, ruthless, and bloodthirsty. Yi Xiu's figure moved like a ghost, weaving through the crowd, leaving a trail of bloodshed wherever he went. Her swordsmanship was unpredictable and elusive, and every attack she made was able to precisely strike the enemy's vital points. Faced with such an opponent, ordinary geniuses had no chance to fight back and could only retreat and dodge. Yi Xiu gave them no chance to breathe, relentlessly pursuing them and continuing her fierce offensive. A crow flies an airplane. 9 heavens righteous thunder technique. 5-colored divine light. The years have flown by like a shuttle. Please turn around, baby. Deafening sounds echoed throughout the battlefield. These were the most outstanding talents of each race, all unleashing their strongest supernatural powers and magical treasures. Each supernatural power contained boundless might, as if it were about to tear this world apart. Each of those magical artifacts exuded a chilling aura, making it impossible to look directly at them. The sky was now enveloped in a dazzling array of lights, with multicolored rays intertwining to create a magnificent and colorful scene. Heavenly demonic slash, Yi Xiu unleashed a terrifying sword aura. The collision between supernatural powers and magical treasures triggered a series of earth-shattering explosions, as if the entire world was trembling. Spiders eat flies. Destroy the Crimson Lotus. Primordial radiance. The vastness of the primordial universe shines as the sun sets. Primordial war god king condense. White tiger roars across the sky, and then countless supernatural powers and secret techniques were unleashed. The killing intent of the 9 heavens is mine alone. The way of heaven is vast and boundless, burying all living beings. As the incantation was uttered, the surrounding spiritual energy began to fluctuate violently, and a powerful aura emanated from Yi Xiu's body. Yi Xiu formed hand seals, and streams of bloodthirsty energy condensed in her hands, eventually forming a huge blood wheel. Puff! Yi Xiu suddenly felt a sharp pain in her chest. When she looked down, she saw a sharp sword piercing through her chest. Yi Xiu stared wide-eyed at the scene before him in disbelief. Shen Gongbao Yu. Chapter 185. What? Yi Duxiu is a great emperor who has been reborn. Before Yi Xiu could finish speaking, countless divine powers and techniques bombarded him instantly. Yi Xiu was instantly engulfed by the light, and a powerful force impacted every inch of her skin. The space around Yi Xiu was shattered, and various laws relentlessly eroded his body. The law of blazing flames, the law of frost, the power of heavenly water, the law of space, the law of destruction, the law of lightning, the law of gale, the power of heavenly fire, the intent of spears, the intent of swords, the intent of blades, the intent of fists. At first, the world seemed to lose its color, and the geniuses of all races were unable to detect Yi Xiu's condition for a time. Great, you hit it. Is Yi Duxiu dead? Is it over? One after another, inquiries from ordinary geniuses rose and fell. It seems Yi Duxiu was just ambushed. The holy son of Li Huo transmitted to the other half-saints. Nonsense, everyone saw it, you don't need to say it. A demon race half-saint powerhouse showed no respect whatsoever to the holy son of Li Huo. Don't argue, don't underestimate the enemy. A human semi-saint woman warned, her eyes fixed intently on the center of the attack. Knight Enchantress, mind your own business. When I was cultivating, you weren't even born yet. What are you? The demon race demigod continued to mock. Heh, you fat cat, you were born so many years earlier, yet your cultivation has still been surpassed by this holy maiden. You truly have amazing talent. Ymir didn't indulge the demon race's half-saint prodigy Hu Zaifeng either, emphasizing the words, amazing talent, heavily. Shall we fight? Bring it on, who's afraid of who? Enough, the Dragon King sneered. Ymir and Hu Zaifeng, one human and one demon, finally stopped arguing. The other prodigies merely glanced at the two of them silently, before returning their attention to where Yi Duxiu had just been. Yi Xiu's surrounding laws were in disarray, and his divine sense still couldn't discern Yi Duxiu's condition. Within the storm of laws, Yi Xiu's clothes were completely torn. A pale blue sword was stuck in his chest. His face was deathly pale, and his aura was chaotic and weak, as if he would collapse at any moment. Shen Gongbao, Yi Xiu roared inwardly. She never expected that Shen Gongbao would betray her at this moment, and so quickly. Yi Xiu felt completely weak. Her delicate body began to sway precariously, and her eyelids grew heavier and heavier. Haha, am I going to die again? Backstabbed again, Yi Xiu, you really never learn. No, I can't give up yet. I still have a great grudge to settle. Shang Yuan Qingyi and Feng Tianyu, that scoundrel, are still alive, and that brat Ao Yuan is still alive. How can I just collapse like this? I can still fight, I can still fight. Yi Xiu roared inwardly. Under Yi Xiu's powerful will, her aura began to surge. Peak of divine fire, early stage of the Dao slaying realm, mid stage of the Dao slaying realm, late stage of the Dao slaying realm, peak of the Dao severing realm. In just 2.5 seconds, Yi Xiu's cultivation level surged by a whole major realm, almost reaching the level of a half-saint. Ding, Yi Xiu, the chosen one, has been ambushed by the host and is in critical condition. Yi Xiu's luck value has plummeted by 2,500,000, and the host has gained 2,500,000 villain points. Ding, Yi Xiu, the chosen one, is lost in memories and breaks through his limits with a burst of power. Yi Xiu's luck has been permanently depleted by 5 million, and the host has gained 5 million villain points. Ding, with the host's help, the chosen one Yi Xiu is in dire straits, surrounded by enemies and unable to reason with anyone. Yi Xiu's luck value drops by 2,500,000, and the host gains 2,500,000 villain points. Yi Xiu's remaining luck points, 8,490,000. In an instant, Yi Xiu lost 10 million in luck, while Ao Yuan gained 100 million in villain value. With all the additions and subtractions, it seems I can't let Yi Xiu steal the kills. Ao Yuan sighed inwardly. He gains villain points for killing prodigies, and Yi Xiu gains a certain amount of luck for killing prodigies. The ups and downs are indeed a hassle. Thinking of this, Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, and Qian Lanbing Yanzi's flames surged. Boom! Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, smashed into a corner of the formation with all his might. Under the powerful force of the Qianlin ice flame, the formation naturally broke open with a huge gap. Run, Yi Duxiu is a reincarnation of the great emperor, Ao Yuan shouted with all his might. I can't hold on much longer. Let's go. Ao Yuan gripped his right hand tightly with his left, pretending to be on the verge of losing control. What, Yi Duxiu is actually an emperor? The geniuses of all races were thrown into chaos. Your Majesty, this is the epitome of invincibility across the 5 regions and 4 seas. Every great emperor was an invincible figure who rose to power in his time. Even if some great emperors achieved their success by taking a different path, they were still incomparable to these people. The great emperor has rebuilt it, so what the hell is there to fight now? Escape. Get as far away as possible. Countless geniuses felt a strong urge to retreat. Go, hurry! Shen Gongbao, his face pale, let out a final hysterical shout. Blue flames surged in his right hand, as if he were about to charge at the cultivators at any moment. Upon hearing Shen Gongbao's shout, the various tribal prodigies on the ground instantly snapped out of their shock and began to rush towards the cave entrance. At this moment, the prodigies were no longer as composed and calm as before. They were like stray dogs, scrambling to run towards the last chance for survival. Among the crowd, Ao Yuan also spotted 2 familiar figures. One of them was Nai Yue, a woman he had known for 9 days. The other person was Nai Yue's best friend, Gyur, but they weren't very close. Nai Yue looked at Ao Yuan with moist eyes, while Gyur held Nai Yue's hand, as if she was saying something. Although they were far apart, Ao Yuan still clearly heard Gyur's words urging Nai Yue to escape. Sister Nai Yue, let's go. Sister Nai Yue, it will be too late if we don't leave now. Brother Shen definitely wouldn't want anything to happen to you. Only after Gyur's persuasion did Nai Yue reluctantly enter the exit. Of course, there were also some top geniuses who considered themselves to be very powerful and did not leave. They are the holy son of Li Hu, the witchy mayor, Hu Zifeng, the fierce tiger king, Sheng Chum, the carefree swordsman, the chaotic scholar, the skywalking swordsman, the imperial eagle king, the holy maiden of rainbow robes, the chaotic ancient emperor, the sword lord Taoist, the flood dragon king, the demon monkey king, the holy maiden of bright moon, the holy maiden of fallen marks, the shadow sect master, the true lord of purple mountain, the holy son of asking heaven, the divine Kun Kunpeng king, the demon Kun Galio, the angel Kyle, the undying sword demon. There were over 30 semi-saints, a truly formidable lineup. Just then, the storm of laws shattered instantly, and a naked woman's jade feet stepped into the air. Her long hair flowed freely, her eyes were bloodshot, and she placed her hands in front of her chest as pale blue flames slowly emerged. Milk-scented sword. Shen Gongbo. Yiziu lunged at Ao Yuan with bloodshot eyes. Ao Yuan stopped what he was doing, casually threw a punch, and sent Yiziu, who was carrying the Qianlin Li Hu sword, flying. The other 30-odd semi-saints all looked at Ao Yuan. All right, they've been fooled again. Ao Yuan remained calm and took out a strange array plate, tossed it into the air, and a brand new, mysterious array instantly sealed everything off. A formation within a formation. Gentlemen, since you're here, make the best of it. If you're not leaving, then stay here forever. Ao Yuan smiled gently. So it was you. The holy son of Li Hu stared intently at Ao Yuan. Evil grows stronger, so too do I. Prepare for judgment. Kyle raised the holy sword of light high. Shen Gongbao, prepare to die. Yiziu flew up from the pit again. P.S. Please encourage me to update and support me with your love. Omega equals. Chapter 186. Yiziu was instantly defeated again. Boom! With a loud bang, Yiziu's body was once again deeply embedded in the earth. The holy son of Li Hu stood not far away, his gaze fixed on Shen Gongbao, Ao Yuan, his eyes flashing with anger and doubt. Shen Gongbao? The holy son of Li Hu stared grimly at Shen Gongbao in the center of the formation. I never imagined that you were the mastermind behind all of this. Ao Yuan did not answer, neither affirming nor denying. There was no need to explain so much to a bunch of dead people. Ao Yuan unleashed his full cultivation, and an extremely powerful spiritual pressure swept across the entire area in an instant. A sage, the hearts of the geniuses of all races sank instantly. No one expected that the seemingly ordinary Shen Gongbao would actually be a saint. They couldn't gather any information about such a young saint. For a moment, the geniuses of all races had strange expressions, constantly thinking about how to deal with the enemy. Just then, Ao Yuan's voice came again. Everyone, since you've come, then bury us here. His tone was flippant, as if he didn't take these geniuses of all races seriously. These words sent a chill down everyone's spine. HMPH, Shen Gongbao, don't think you can beat me just because you're a saint. I've killed saints before. The Flood Dragon King roared, emanating a powerful aura that caused the surrounding space to distort slightly. The Dragon King is the pride of the Dragon clan. His experience and temperament are impeccable. Although Xingshi was somewhat arrogant, he certainly had the right to be arrogant. Dragon King, stop wasting time talking to this kid. Let's attack together. Tiger King shouted from the side. Get out of my way, he's mine. The Dragon King roared, his eyes flashing with disdain. He wanted to defeat Shen Gongbao alone and become the center of attention. Defying the heavens and defeating saints is a great honor for any cultivator. The Dragon King flashed and instantly appeared in front of Shen Gongbao, a black spear appearing in his hand, which he thrust towards Shen Gongbao. This shot contained boundless power, as if it could tear the entire world apart. Ao Yuan's lips curled up slightly, revealing a faint smile. Then, he stretched out his right hand, and with a gentle pinch of his two slender fingers, he firmly grasped the spear that the Flood Dragon King had thrust at him. Upon seeing this, the Dragon King was startled, but he gritted his teeth and gathered all his strength into his arms, trying to pull the spear out of Ao Yuan's hands. However, no matter how hard he tried, the spear remained motionless, as if it were firmly locked by an invisible force. Ao Yuan watched the futile struggle of the Flood Dragon King, a hint of disdain flashing in his eyes, and coldly said, "Break." As he finished speaking, a terrifying aura erupted from him, instantly enveloping the entire battlefield. The Dragon King felt this powerful aura, and his face turned deathly pale. Before the Flood Dragon King could react, a crisp bang was heard, and the black spear in the Flood Dragon King's hand turned into countless fragments, which were scattered all over the ground. The Dragon King stared wide-eyed at his empty hands in disbelief, his heart filled with shock and fear. This is a top-tier quasi, a sacred artifact. Even at its worst, it's not some piece of junk that can be destroyed at will. But that's the truth. The other party easily destroyed a top-tier Quays, a sacred artifact, with just 2 fingers. At this moment, the Dragon King finally realized how great the gap was between himself and Ao Yuan, and a wave of despair welled up in his heart. Human sacred body. All the prodigies simultaneously thought of the same phrase. Humanity has no great emperor, but the 9 sacred bodies battle against the heavens. Before countless opportunities at the very beginning of the human race's existence, monsters roamed freely, and the human race was weak and could only become food for all other races. Without the great emperor, the human race's resistance is nothing but a laughable joke in the eyes of all other races. After countless years of effort and repeated gene screening, a unique and extraordinary physique exclusive to the human race was finally created: the human sacred body. 9 of them struggled to break through the vastness of heaven and earth amidst the attacks of all races, achieving perfect holy bodies and carving out a new world for the human race, which led to the later human emperor. After the emergence of the great emperor, the extraordinary physique of the human race also faced an epic punishment from the heavenly Tao, making it impossible for them to attain the Tao, and they slowly declined into useless bodies. The path to a perfected holy body, capable of rivaling even the great emperor, was too overpowered and was therefore blocked. Breaking the seal of heaven and earth, or creating a brand new sacred body, Saintess Liu Han pondered. Heaven-severing demon-slaying slash. A terrifying sword intent instantly appeared on the ground, so sharp and fierce that it seemed to cleave the entire world in 2. It soared into the sky like a giant dragon, carrying boundless power and might, hurtling straight towards the heavens. 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Ao Yuan threw a punch in an instant. This punch was incredibly powerful, containing boundless strength, as heavy as a mountain and as surging as a vast ocean. Wherever the fist passed, space was distorted, producing a series of booming sounds. With a crack, Yiziu's earth-shattering sword strike shattered instantly. The force of the punch remained unaffected, and with a boom, it struck Yiziu as he rose again. The entire valley shook violently, and cracks appeared on the ground, spreading out like a spider web. In the center of the spider web, Yiziu was in a terrible state. Her bones were shattered, her internal organs were burst open, and she was covered in blood, with not a single part of her body intact. Ding, the host has defeated Yiziu, the Chosen One, in a direct confrontation. Yiziu's bones are shattered. He is on the verge of death, his mentality is shattered, his Tao heart is broken, and his invincible emperor's heart is destroyed on the spot. Yiziu's luck value has plummeted by 5 million, and the host has gained 5 million villain points. Upon hearing the news that Yiziu was on the verge of death, Ao Yuan immediately rushed towards the myriad races prodigies who were watching the show from the sidelines. Not good. If we all attack together, Shen Gongbao can't possibly kill us all. Hold on until he's exhausted. Everyone responded enthusiastically, holding nothing back and unleashing their strongest magical treasures and weapons. In an instant, various lights flashed, and sacred artifacts and Kuei's emperor weapons flew out one after another, rushing towards Shen Gongbao with a sharp aura. One after another, sacred artifacts and Kuei's emperor weapons flew through the air, radiating a powerful pressure that seemed to tear the entire space apart. They intertwine in the air to form a dazzling and colorful net of light, which is breathtaking. Imperial Weapon Dragon God Emperor Armor. Ao Yuan instantly activated the Supreme Emperor Weapon. In an instant, a layer of black armor covered Ao Yuan's body. The armor looked very similar to the defensive armor of the human race. However, the Dragon God Emperor armor had a restrained imperial aura, and its specific rank could not be discerned at all. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the first-level genius, Tiger King. Host has gained 12 million villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the first-level genius, the Holy Son of Li Huo. Host has gained 15 million villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the first-level genius, the Flood Dragon King. Host has gained 20 million villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the first-level genius, Saintess Liu Han. Host has gained 16 million villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing Kyle, a first-level prodigy. You have gained 19 million villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the Undying Sword Demon, a peerless genius. You have gained 20 million villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the first-level genius, Wang Luan Shashang. Host has gained 17 million villain points. Ding, congratulations. A series of system announcements sounded, and Ao Yuan's villain value rapidly increased, continuing to approach zero. Chapter 187 Void Riot, Void Queen. Watching Shen Gongbao wreak havoc, Yi Ziu, who was stuck in the ground, used all his strength to repair his meridians, preparing to rely on a last resort to escape. Emperor's soul. The remnant soul of the Emperor she preserved can still be used. She still has a chance. Despite the enormous risks involved in using the remnant soul of the great Emperor, she had no other choice. Faced with this mysterious prodigy, Yi Ziu had no choice but to avoid him. There's no way around it. The gap between those who have severed their Tao and those who have attained sainthood is as vast as an insurmountable chasm. If it were an ordinary great sage, Yi Ziu could put up a fight, but facing this peerless genius of unknown origin, Yi Ziu was not confident that he could take him down alone. Her enemies are still alive. She cannot die. Young Master Shen, please have mercy. This humble woman is willing to follow you and serve you. With that, Yi Meyer quickly removed her long dress, revealing her pure and delicate body. A killer figure. Unfortunately, what awaited her was Ao Yuan's unwavering heavenly emperor fist. Boom! Yi Meyer turned into a cloud of blood mist and was instantly refined by Chen Zhou. Ding, congratulations, host, for successfully killing the first-level prodigy Yi Meyer. Host has gained 13 million villain points. As the final system announcement ended, this scheme targeting the prodigies of all races finally came to a close. 2/3 are still to go. The task ahead is arduous, Ao Yuan thought to himself. A loan of hundreds of billions is not so easy to repay. With a sigh, Ao Yuan casually waved his hand, and a beam of spiritual light flew out from his hand and landed on the Divine Restriction Isolation Array. The next moment, the Divine Isolation Array trembled violently, with beams of light flashing before gradually dissipating. Even with the disappearance of the Divine Restriction and Isolation Array, the space is still sealed off by the Nine Heavens Annihilation and Return Array. Seeing the Nine Heavens Annihilation returning formation operating as usual, Ao Yuan teleported in front of Yi Ziu with a sinister look and deliberately said, "Ziyu, so you're still alive." Oh no, Yi Ziu's heart skipped a beat and he panicked, but the mangled body remained motionless, as if it were truly dead. Yi Ziu unleashed his full power, burning his Emperor soul and using the Myriad Fire's disintegration technique to its fullest extent. No, I shouldn't call you Yi Duxiu, right, Yi Ziu? Ao Yuan looked at Yi Ziu with a half-smile. Yi Ziu's heart skipped a beat. He decided to stop playing dead and stared intently at Shen Gongbao. Who exactly are you? An attempt to stall for time. Who am I? I'm the one who killed you, of course. Ao Yuan's world-destroying sacred dragon flame surged instantly and was unleashed in a flash. Just then, something unexpected happened. Suddenly, the Nine Heavens Annihilation Return formation was broken in an instant, and the formation collapsed and disintegrated. Countless rays of light shone outwards, and the entire formation emitted a deafening roar, as if the heavens and earth were about to collapse. A powerful wave of energy spread out in all directions, tearing cracks in the void wherever it passed. Humans, insects, die, a sharp scream rang out. Sensing the terrifying spatial power, Ao Yuan immediately retreated several miles, while Yi Ziu was swept into the spatial turbulence by the power of the void, but was not defeated. Quasi-Emperor. As expected, a quasi-Emperor-level void creature has been born. The chosen one is indeed difficult to kill. An enormous figure appeared before Ao Yuan, its arms alone being over 20 meters long. Ao Yuan recognized the void creature at a glance. The Void Queen, Alps. Humans, you have destroyed the ley lines of the void. Die. The Void Queen slammed down with her palm. Ao Yuan's expression remained unchanged. In an instant, the 3 supreme imperial weapons were revived. Ultimate Imperial Weapon Dragon God Emperor Armor. Ultimate Imperial Weapon Void Halberd. Ultimate Imperial Weapon Divine Forbidden Wheel. Recovery, the Ultimate Sublimation. A colossal phantom appeared, clad in a 9-colored armor, wielding a void halberd in his right hand and a divine forbidden wheel in his left, standing on the void earth veins with void clouds above his head. His aura was divine, pressing down on the void empress, rendering her unable to move. Die. As soon as the illusory emperor spoke, the nascent imperial aura and laws surrounding the void empress collapsed. No. The Void Queen let out a final, desperate roar. However, the emperor's might was inviolable. The Void Queen Alps had no power to resist and turned into starlight, dissipating into nothingness. Her essence transformed into a giant purple crystal, floating in the air. Quasi-Emperor-level void essence, what a treasure. With a clench of his will, the Dragon God Emperor armor produced two smaller wisps of void essence that appeared on either side of the Void Queen's void essence. Ding, the host used the Supreme Emperor weapon to annihilate Kaisa, one of Yi Xiu's strongest future subordinates and the heroine of Destiny. Yi Xiu has completely lost the support of the Void Clan, and his luck value has plummeted by 2,500,000. The host has gained 2,500,000 villain points. Yi Xiu's remaining luck value, 1 million. Ding, Yi Xiu, the Chosen One, has fallen below 1/10 of his total luck value, reaching the perfect kill threshold. Perfect kill is possible. Ding, congratulations, host, for using the Supreme Emperor weapon to kill the domain-level Prajikasha, gaining 70 million villain points. Ding, congratulations, host, for using the Supreme Emperor weapon to kill the Void Clan's destined emperor, the realm-level Prodigy Alps. Host has gained 100 million villain points, 100 million. The Dragon God Emperor armor glanced lightly at the void essence before it, found nothing amiss, and then went back to sleep. All of this was sealed away by the Supreme Emperor weapon Divine Forbidden Wheel, and no one knew about it.